You see the story of the woman that sued her parents because she's ugly?
I did see that. You know, it was a husband that sued his wife. Go ahead. You finish telling yours.
Well, just like I would sue whoever was responsible for that last night
for making you watch it.
because that was ugly.
Somebody might be walking to the courthouse this morning. Like, legitimately, I saw somebody who was like, I apologize in my life for watching this game right now. I was like, you know what? You ain't wrong.
Apologize for my life right now.
Yeah.
Logging off of my life right now.
Logging off of my life right now.
It was not. I've seen better sporting events.
I have too. Also, the other hometown team, Vanderbilt, lost 72-68 to Temple. Vandy's 5-3 on the season too. Temple 6-3. So, I mean, it's some good ball going on right now. Just both of the Tennessee teams, and we also know Memphis is down bad right now too. TSU, Tennessee State University, lost a prospect, Hersey Miller. Also, had a feeling that was gonna play out when his dad released the video of him saying Tennessee State medical facilities weren't good enough as far as, I ain't gonna say weren't good enough, but it was challenging trying to rehab at Tennessee State. So he left out yesterday. And you take me back to weird lawsuits. Did you see the one where the husband sued his wife
For
lying to him about what she looked like? It was I think it was in Asia somewhere. Japan,
how do you do? Wait, did they get married before they met?
They got married. No, they got married. They ended up having a child. He was this super rich guy, and she was this very beautiful woman. It was this very beautiful woman. They have a child, right? He's just like, that is an ugly baby. Like, who's lying to me? Come to find out, she had tons and tons of work done. She had a lot of plastic surgery done.
Yeah, that doesn't get inherited automatically to the child.
No, but apparently he's looking at the baby like, this doesn't look like either one of them.
Gave birth to Sloth from the Goonies.
Whatever it was, he sued his wife, and he had to go back and see her medical records, and he won the case. He was like, he was granted like a divorce or something like that. How you gonna say you got an ugly baby, man, and blame somebody else?
No, you can let me say it. I'll say it.
Dude, he sued his wife for giving him what he said. This isn't me saying this. Hey, all babies are pretty, okay?
Yeah, they are.
Said his wife gave him an ugly baby, so it had to come from somewhere. And lo and behold, she had a ton work of plastic surgery.
But I still don't know that you win a court case.
I'll look it up. I promise you.
I'm saying win. I'm not saying sue. I'm saying I don't know that you've got a case.
Different countries, Jay. Different standards, man. Deceit.
615-737-1045. One Pro Bowler season is over. Just seeing that pop up on the wire this morning. We'll tell you about that when we come back. Also, the betting favorites for the Super Bowl are in. The most likely to reach the Super Bowl will be a matchup that we have discussed a few times already this week. What are you laughing about right now?
Because it's comments from the story I just told. Dark Goof on Zone TV said, no, guys, they are not. Speaking of guys, not all pretty. He's like, they are a gift, but they can still be ugly.
Well, no, that was the old Seinfeld gig. It's like you ever get invited to go see a baby. You see the baby, and you're like walking away from it like, was that a human?
Oh, I fight somebody.
It's like it didn't have a nose. It was Voldemort. It's like, what is that?
People are just wrong out
People
here.
don't care, man. People do not care. A lot to come here on this edition of JMart and Ramon. Robert Mays will join us from The Athletic. Rhett Bryan, my guy who brought me a zero cherry Pepsi.
Hey.
What in the world am I talking about? Zero cherry Coke.
Come on, man. Shake back, Jay.
Had a Pepsi employee see us at Toy Field yesterday.
Yeah.
And I guess that was on the brain
Uh-huh.
for whatever reason. We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way we did them, just because that's the way we've always kind of done them. That's what happened when it comes to selling your home. You list it and you have to keep it show ready because you never know when somebody want to stop in for a quick look, or you got dozens of people just in and out of your house all day long and they're probably not serious about buying it anyway. And this goes on and on and on and on until the right buyer comes along. Well, now that's found its way to the end. And it's me, Ramon Foster. And I want to tell you what I did. I went to opendoor.com and I put in my address and home info, and I got an offer back in no time. It was no listings, no strangers, or no stress. Open Door gives you a real competitive offer in minutes. Just go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer. Open Door is a new way to sell without all the hassles of a traditional home selling. You'll know how much you are getting. You can decide when you want to close. Go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer today. That's opendoor.com/WGFX. Offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage Inc. License 02061130 in California. Open Door Brokerage LLC in his other markets.
This tweet from DaBinky from March 27th, 2020. Remember that story of the man who tried to sue his wife for lying because she had plastic surgery and their baby came out ugly? Stop the obsession with Asian babies. What?
Yeah. It's a crazy story, isn't it?
Well, apparently this one's from 2020.
Yeah, the case I just looked up again is the same one I remember. It just got settled.
I don't know why I accepted your airdrop. I don't need this.
I told you. Dude is chapped. He is upset about what he did.
I'm going to read this story that you just sent.
Oh, it came through?
So here's the scenario. Attractive man from northern China meets an attractive woman and they marry. All is well until attractive woman gives birth to a baby girl her husband finds so repulsive to look at, he's convinced his wife's genes are responsible for the ugly baby. After their baby girl was born, Feng demanded a DNA test to prove his wife had cheated on him with another man and the baby wasn't his. But when the test results came back and proved Feng was in fact the biological father, he made the choice every father makes, to apologize and accept his daughter as is. Oh, wait, that's not what he did. He decided to sue his wife to prove his ugly child was all her fault genetically. You would think any judge would have laughed this case right out of court, but again, not what happened. Feng's wife admitted that before she met her husband-to-be, she had $100,000 worth of cosmetic surgery performed in South Korea. This backed up Feng's claim of false pretenses, that by not revealing her plastic surgery to him before the marriage, she tricked him. The judge sided with Feng and ordered the wife to pay him $120,000. So it ended up being $220,000 worth of plastic surgery. I can't believe
I told you
that didn't get laughed at court.
No. Buddy had to be rich as ever, though, for him to have that type of pull. And then I guess he must have worded the he worded the lawsuit or the divorce correctly. False pretenses.
What's going to be funny is when that ugly baby grows up and is like everything he thought she was going to be. Yeah. And he still cashed in. Mm-hmm. Did he divorce her? Or are they still married, but, hey, we're going to stay married because I like you, but I'm going to need $120,000 to stay in the marriage.
Nah, I think that's a wrap. Imagine somebody sue you for being not attractive in front of the world, like take you to court for that. You be mad. I'd be mad for them. I'm mad for this lady and the baby.
I feel bad for the baby specifically, just because the baby's going to have to grow up and know that story.
How you judge that child off of that? That's cold-blooded, man. And then she had to pay $120,000. How chapped would you be?
I
would be chapped city.
I had to take the jacket off. It's too warm. I thought it was just going to be, just an aesthetic jacket. Nope. Nope.
We had Dustin, DEAVFL, say if the baby is ugly, the baby is ugly. It is what it is. People are cold-blooded out here, man.
Jamal Adams' season is over.
Yeah, just saw that.
Torn labrum and other damage to his shoulder.
Pretty much, let's go ahead and get this surgery because our season is done. It's that time of year where a lot of your people are about to start going to IR.
If they were 8-4, you'd probably still be playing.
Yep. Let's go on to get surgery right now, early off season, man. They don't have anything else left to play for. I didn't realize in that game, too, this past week when they played the 49ers.
Which is
Dunlap hasn't been playing as much as he would like. And he ended up saving the game with the batted down pass and everything. Carlos Dunlap from Florida, yeah. That's just, I can't believe with them having a franchise quarterback in Russ. And I can, maybe it's just bad. Russ has been upset pretty much all since last year, at the end of last year, though, Jay. And now it's starting to see his ugly side of what the business is for a guy like him. You got a franchise quarterback, true enough. He's been begging since he threw that interception in the Super Bowl to give him somebody else to help with. Offensive line is always an issue with them. His play calling, he's always had an issue with in Seattle, too, as of late. And what's wild, though, is they get rid of everybody around him. I ain't going to say get rid of everybody, but the Legion of Boom got broken up. The defense got broken up. And now he's the guy. And Russ hasn't handled that in the most correct way. His run game hasn't been what it was. The O-line never got together. He's got 2 young wide receivers, though, so.
Let's call it what it is. He didn't want to be there. The stuff in the offseason was setting the stage to get out next year, but they weren't going to move him. But he doesn't want to be there. He wants to be in a bigger market. He wants to set the stage for his post-football career. He's not the same Russ that he was when he first came into the league. He's now the businessman Russ that, look, and at this point, do what you got to do. Do what you think's going to be right for you. I get it. But he didn't want to be there, and he hasn't looked fully invested to me. It just hadn't felt the same as old Russ felt 2 or 3 years ago.
That's what she said. Okay. Yeah. But, yeah.
I'm not talking for the rest of the segment.
I know. We go from ugly babies to this.
I don't know that I'm talking at all today.
But Seattle. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but the fall off that they've had is not what you expect from a franchise guy. And he had the finger. Yeah, but this does lead to hey, if we're going to break up, let's do it now. He's got the excuse. They were bad. He clearly doesn't like the play calling still, and they can't win with what they got. Mind you, I got friggin' DK on one of my fantasy team, and I got Lockett on another, and I don't know when to start them anymore, okay?
I mean, I honestly think Russ would have been fine if his injury would have been a little worse and he could have just been done.
Yeah.
Because he came back, the season was over. I just don't think he wants to play out the string.
Mm-hmm.
At his age, playing as much as he's already played, he's ready to get to the next team.
And it's probably about time. It is about time. Where is he going? You think he comes East Coast?
No, I think he either the Raiders make him an offer and Carr moves on.
Carr's having a heck of a year, though, Jay.
He is, but they're doing the same thing they always do right now, which is falling off a cliff. They don't have a coach. They might have a new general manager. It's going to be a reset, and somebody's going to pay Derek Carr big money.
Oh,
it might not be the Raiders. There might be somebody else out there that offers him more money, and he goes there. He could be the guy that cashes in because right now we're seeing Lamar kind of just sitting there. We know Baker's money is not going to be what I think Derek Carr's money is going to be at this point in time. But I can see him there. I could see him. I would say I'd see him in L.A., but they've got Stafford, so it's not going to be there. But somewhere, like I've seen the Giants mentioned, put him in New York.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is that
not
experience.
That easy. He ain't it.
That experience is your best bet is try to hire Cut to your staff and see if he can muster something out of him, which I don't know if Cut wants that type of role.
I'd say
the
Steelers, but I don't think Pittsburgh's the market he wants to be in either.
No.
Because it's about the market he and his wife want to be in. Yes.
Okay, Russ.
Aaron Rodgers, that story's had more legs to it than.
Yeah. Who could work with Russ?
New Orleans would be possible.
Maybe. Atlanta?
I don't think he wants to be in Atlanta.
I mean, it's a big market. It's East Coast. You can fly to New York quick. You can get to Miami quick. You can get to Chicago, straight flights.
I was trying to think about Texas teams, but I mean, Houston's so bad they'd have to do so much around him if they were even able to make that work. And Dallas has their guy.
Yeah, they do now.
Right.
Yeah, they have their guy. So it's 3 quarterbacks.
Chicago, but they've got Fields, and they're going to give him a new coach, I think.
Minnesota won't make a move, and I don't know. He definitely don't want to be in Minnesota. No. So it's 3 quarterbacks that's got to have a decision made on them this offseason. For sure, that we can think of. 4 if you throw in Daniel Jones.
Aaron.
Well, I forgot about him.
But, I mean, who knows? He may just stick around. But Russ.
Daniel
Jones maybe, as you just mentioned.
Baker. Whether to stay or whether does he go.
Lamar's going to get paid.
Lamar is what Baltimore needs.
He's going to get paid, but they've got to get rid of Greg Roman.
I saw somebody breaking down his his quarterback mechanics yesterday, talking about his feet. Mm-hmm. They're not set, or when he does shuffle them is when he's going to pass every single time. And and this is what I tell people all the time when it comes down to, man, how do they break people down? You remember we had this conversations like, when you got a guy as dynamic as Lamar's still dangerous. I'm not minimizing what he can and has done at all. But the more film you get, the more eyes you get on you, There's guys in dark rooms in NFL buildings that are looking at anything to break you down. You remember I told you a story about how Andy Dalton does. When his feet were shuffled, he was in a run or he was handing the ball off. When his feet were square, he was getting ready to pass. We knew that. It was a tackle that we played against also. If his hands were up, pass. If they were crossed over his leg, run. Like, it's so many little things. So now that they're breaking down Lamar as far as what his tendencies are, he shuffled his feet, he's going to pass. I saw Schobert this past weekend. Saw Lamar, feet shuffle, he dropped back and tipped the ball. Just that simple. Like, as far as his coaching, his quarterback coaching, his teaching, they do have to clean that up because he's a dynamic player. If you stop the run up front and he's sitting back in the pocket, I know when I'm watching him, I'm like, boy, at any moment he can just go. We saw him do the Titans like that. What was it, last year, 2 years ago? Just strike out and go 76 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. So he's and them, the Baltimore Ravens, got to fix that. But it's almost at a point of it's like Tebow-esque when it comes down to, like, fixing his technique. Can you actually fix his technique? He'll always go back to his throwing motion or his old mechanics. They should have nipped this in the bud by giving him a better OC and quarterback coach.
And Tua's another guy.
Tua, God, this offseason going to be wild.
I mean, Miami's a place you could see Russ maybe wanting to live. Potentially. I know the Saints were originally on his list, so maybe they would still be there. I don't see him in cold weather particularly. I could see Chicago if they had still had their opening maybe, but there's just I don't know. The Lamar thing is, I don't think Greg Roman's doing him any favors. I still don't think he has a lot of weapons around him, and he has had a lot of disadvantages when it comes to they don't have any cornerbacks, and they've been ravaged with injuries. They're the only team that could look at Tennessee and say, yeah, we kind of understand how you feel. Not quite, but kind of. But Lamar at the same time, I mean, he's always going to be this. Like, there are going to be stretches where he looks like he's really throwing the ball well. Then there's going to be stretches where it looks like he should never throw the ball again.
He's in a bad stretch right now.
Yeah, he's in a terrible stretch right now.
Since that Cleveland game and maybe before that also. He's just off the mark. Him and Mark Andrews have made some good connections, but it's the simple across-the-middle passes sometimes that get him. You're like, what are you doing, man? I mean, that game, of course, this past weekend against the Steelers, for the Ravens, I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking to myself, if he is coherent enough to just stay in that pocket and throw that ball, they win that. And Harbaugh is probably top of the conversation as far as coach of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, they win a game like that. Like, it was a ballsy play for him to say, hey, we're going for two. The whole narrative would have been insane by that. We got some people that are suggesting other places where he can go. New Orleans for Russ, as we go back and forth about what this offseason is going to be for quarterbacks. So, again, our list goes to Lamar, probably stay in Baltimore. Baker.
Just depends on what the market is.
Well, the draft don't have much.
No.
Russ.
He's going to be elsewhere. I don't know exactly whether it's going to be the Saints or it's going to be a team that goes all in with him and goes all in with other free agents and makes it more
trade.
Right.
Tua.
I don't know. They've won a lot of games in a row, but not really because of him.
This last year too.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun.
I still don't know if he's going to play again.
Ever.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that case is a serious case, and nobody's been talking about it.
I still think Russ to Vegas is something I would not rule out.
Golly. Derek Carr's had a – is it him or is it them? It's not me, it's you. Is that what he was saying in Las Vegas?
I don't know, but he's going to land on his feet, whether it's there or elsewhere. He's going to be fine.
Okay, so Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, Daniel Jones. Like, that's your draft right there.
Yep.
This quarterback fiasco, that's your draft. And I say Pickett and Ritter are also guys that would be strong contenders in the draft. Or this next quarterback carousel when it comes down to free agency and what the draft is going to say as far as moves being made. It'll be hard to think of Russ somewhere else. Honestly, for me, it'll be hard to think that Derek Carr will be somewhere else. But I know the business. Heck, We saw Julio Jones leave Atlanta. I know he's not a quarterback, and quarterbacks never really leave, but
I mean, I think Denver's going to have somebody new next year.
yeah, forget about that.
Whether it's Aaron or one of the other guys that's in the league now, I don't think they're going to draft anybody necessarily unless they do it a little bit later to maybe develop them. But I don't think anybody you take your pick. I don't know who that's coming out this year I really think is going to be a great pro. I think Ritter's a great college quarterback. I really like Matt Corral. I don't know what he's going to be in the NFL. I don't know what I just don't have a good sense at all
I mean,
on
the
these
fact
guys.
that he is not in that Heisman conversation again. Corral. I'll say this too. Russ to Atlanta, I think, makes more sense because of his wife. It's East Coast. That's the biggest. I think she did what he wanted to do there. I think if there was a market, I would say Arthur Smith would take him too.
Well, it's not that. I think if he goes to that division, he goes to the Saints.
Saints.
And I also think I just don't know he's going to look at Atlanta like I can win another ring here.
But I also look at Arthur Smith as a guy that would really work with Russ. As far as Sean Payton would be like, okay, this is our system. You want to learn it. I think he would get what he want out of Arthur more than he would with Sean Payton.
He might, but I don't know that he thinks he's going to be able to win a Super Bowl in Atlanta.
But do you want to market as far as Atlanta? You want one in New Orleans as far as exposure?
Drew Brees did fine.
He did do fine, but they also won a lot too. It's really a toss-up between them two as far as the NFC South goes.
Yeah.
But they still got to go up against the juggernaut.
If I had to just say two destinations, I would say Vegas or New Orleans.
Vegas or New Orleans.
And Vegas is Vegas was mentioned by Ty Dunn.
Yeah.
When he first started talking about Russ in the offseason, about that was one of the three places Russ was like, yeah.
Vegas?
Because he wants as many billionaires near him as he can have. That was the deal. He wants his Rolodex full of billionaires.
Team ownership. I get it. I mean, of course, when I got older and more savvy, I became more business-minded when it came down to like, okay, well, now I'm building. I'm creating relationships. That's what it's all about. I know it's going to be wild. It's going to be and I'm glad for it, too. This offseason should be fun.
It should be, and some of the money is going to go back up.
Yep. 208, I think, is where they said it's going up to. Tannehill get an extension also?
We'll see. It depends on what he does for the rest of this season. Right?
Yeah, I'm thinking of it. There's some decisions on guys that needed to play a good amount this year for the Titans that are out.
Yeah.
AJ is out. So far, still on IR, designated to return at some point. Nate is another guy that I was really pushing, hoping for.
Nate has not had the year that would indicate pay him big money right now. In terms of like, it's a no-brainer the way it felt like it was before the season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not that he's regressed, but he's just kind of been there.
And
like it hasn't been anything special.
It's just so much also when it comes down to so if you don't pay Nate, you got to ask yourself, okay, well, how many other linemen can I go get in the draft or free agency too? You know? That the Titans are in a sticky situation when it comes down to keeping talent on this OL.
Then there's going to be other decisions. What are you going to do with Julio? And again, we're going to figure that out by what he does from here on out. 615-737-1045, 737-1045. The COVID supply chain and just shortage has struck my Christmas shopping.
What?
Officially. We'll talk about that. And it's a sports relevant thing when we come back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Mortgage interest rates are still at an all-time low level, but they are starting to tick up. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, or if you hadn't gotten your pre-approved home loan locked in, now is the time. You got to quit waiting for a lower rate because they won't stick around for much longer. The interest rates are still sitting in the low 2%, which means by refinancing your 30-year mortgage, the home loan expert can save you hundreds of dollars a month. And this past year has been tough. I mean, with job loss, just the pandemic, trying to figure out what's next. And I'm here to tell you, your home is your biggest asset, though. And with the home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. It can lower your payments, give you cash to pay off debt, and have you skip a few mortgage payments. That's how you crush this holiday season and finish out 2021 with a little less worry. So if you've been sitting at home looking at the housing market, you can tell this for sure. The homes in our area are selling fast. So getting pre-approved is key to finding your dream home. At thehomeloanexpert.com, they can lock in your interest rate, project your payments, and get you pre-qualified. So when you find that right home, you can submit that offer and close on your dream home. The Home Loan Expert are doing more home loans than ever and closing purchases in less than 30 days. So don't wait. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com. Dog.
JMart and Ramon 104.5 is owned, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. So, I told you I was going to go to the Titans Pro Shop yesterday.
Yeah.
I went in there because everything, when I've been looking online, the weird thing is like everything's in the hands of Fanatics. Like Fanatics has MLB shop,
do.
NFL shop.
Mm-hmm.
They got everything. But it's all from the same like warehouse. Dick's Sporting Goods, they get all their stuff from Fanatics.
Yeah.
Lids gets all their stuff from Fanatics. So Fanatics has it all. So if Fanatics is out of it, you're going to see it's out everywhere. So if you see all that's left is a 3XL, that's where you're going to find it in 25 other websites as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for, I've been looking now for about a month for a jersey. And it's been out and like, oh, it'll be back in. Yesterday I go in the pro shop and they don't have very much of anything. And the woman comes up, she's like, yeah. She goes, with COVID, every time there is any kind of positive test, the entire plant that makes these for Nike shuts down for 2 weeks. It's just like there's no jerseys anywhere. They're in the middle of a season where people want to wear the stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything. They have what they have left over from last year and almost nothing else. And it's just like, so I was just like, well, they'll probably get more in the next couple of weeks. No, they're getting nothing. Like, if it's gone, it's gone. When it comes to jerseys, there's a massive shortage that dates back to last year that's still there now.
Dang.
And I was looking for the baby blue.
Yeah.
And since they're not wearing it this year, apparently, for a color rush,
There was no need.
they didn't order them at all. They didn't even have them made because it's just taking away from another jersey at that point in time. So you can find almost nothing right now.
Jeez. Dang. I was going to say you try eBay.
Yeah, I did. But the
You
problem
did?
is, I don't know what you can trust and what you can't.
That's
It's
true.
not like shoes where you have like the guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have a guarantee on that. So some of the fakes have gotten better.
Yeah.
They'll put tags on them, all sorts of stuff, and it looks legit. And then you get it, and it's not legit.
Supply chain. God, dog. That's tough. I don't even know where else to look because, like you said, everything's going through Fanatic.
There is nowhere. Like, I mean, it's a wrap. You have to wait.
You can get a Broncos jersey though. I'm sure you can always get a Jags jersey too.
There are a few jerseys I could get. They had a Clowney yesterday I could have gotten.
They really still got that in there? I figured they just got rid of
It's
those.
in clearance. Next to Mariota.
For real.
Still got a decent amount of Mariota jerseys.
Still in the shop today. Oh, that's cool. As beloved as he was there, I figured he'd be gone. I mean, all his stuff will be gone by now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. What about who was the guy that was here last year?
Vic?
Yeah.
I didn't see any Vic jerseys.
Vic Beasley jerseys are in there.
Didn't see any Vic jerseys.
What about Wilson's?
No.
There was no Wilson's.
No Isaiah jerseys. Didn't see any Adam Humphreys either.
No Humphreys in there. Isaiah's been real quiet, man. Good for him. He's with the Giants. They're a bad team, though. He's back home, but he be playing in some capacity.
Yeah. No question he would have been playing.
We had that conversation about, what's to happen with this OL next year.
I mean, jerseys are big-time Christmas items.
No, they are.
And a lot of people are not going to be getting those this year for any NFL teams because there's not that much out there to get.
We usually get our boys like a jersey or something like that for Christmas.
Yeah.
We ended up ordering a jersey or two a while back, dude. It took like 2 months to get in. 2 months for a jersey. That's usually like 5 days, 4 days shipping included. You know what I'm saying? Processing and all of that. It's going to be the hardest thing. There's still no PlayStations, by the way, this year, or Xboxes. I'm surprised they hadn't started counterfeiting those, man.
They're about $4,000 on StockX.
Did you see the Gucci Xbox being released for $10,000? And somebody's on StockX trying to sell it for $25,000. I'm like, dude, did you still play Halo the exact same way on a regular Xbox? Why would I pay you $10,000 for a Xbox? It comes in like this leather suitcase, basically just jazz it up for no reason at all.
Well, here's a question for you.
Like, that's blowing my mind.
Are you marketable?
Am I marketable? I would think so.
Darren Rovell would disagree.
Would he?
Did you see what he said yesterday?
No, what did he say? I'm talking about offensive lineman?
Yeah.
Oh, probably so.
You
You know
talking
what?
about NIL.
Money
The
for
people are just going to start cheating. It's like, you don't throw money at offensive linemen. None of them are marketable. David Bakhtiari was like, damn.
Yeah.
He replied to him. Other people started replying to him. People were like, Trey Smith was one of the most marketable players.
Very much so.
For Tennessee. And it was him and Jawan Jennings is the guys that they were mentioning as guys that you could have marketed. I was just like,
Easily cashed in.
It's not that the overarching statement isn't to some degree right. It's making a blanket statement. It's just stupid. It's hard to look. Whatever you want to say about 77, Taylor Lewan is marketable.
Very much so. Very much so. You're as marketable as you make yourself too.
There are offensive linemen that are great personalities.
Trent Williams does it well.
Orlando Pace would have been hugely marketable.
Huge. Heck, Flozell Adams out of Dallas was huge marketable.
Right.
I mean, truth be told, Isaiah would be very marketable here had he still, been on the same track. I look at Saffold. He has a market in himself in gaming. He's marketable. Like, Ravel, stop. Like, that's the thing about it. Okay, wide receiver 5 for the Titans. Is he marketable? Probably not as much as the starting right guard is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ravel, go beat it. I see why people go at his neck about stuff.
Well, we should. When we get Jeff on again, I'll ask Jeff why he hates Darren Ravel.
Oh,
he had a private exchange with Darren Ravel.
Did he?
Where he was just like, yeah, you're a turd. Just like, you're not a very good person.
Yeah, he's gotten popular. Are you kidding me?
Unlike Jim Nance, who showed up at Toy Field yesterday.
Did he really?
Yeah, there's a photo of him and Rhett.
Get out of here.
Jim Nance stopped by with his family to help out. Just kind of out of nowhere. Had no idea he was in the city.
He lives here too?
I didn't know he lived here. I thought he lived in Charlotte.
What the what? Who doesn't live here now?
But it says, Rhett Bryan, hello, friends. Look who dropped by Toy Field. The great and kind Jim Nance, who came with his family to help out the Salvation Armies and the Forgotten Angels. It's like a photo with him and Rhett.
Let me go. I got to ask Rhett about that.
And we will when Rhett comes on. Scout Meeting Wednesday is a thing.
Queued up, ready to go.
I guess we can scout the Jags when we come back. Again.
Oh, that's so cool.
Not cool, the Jags.
No, I'm talking about Rhett and
Jim it's
Nance.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's just cool that Nance showed up.
By the way, we did feel the feel. Feel the feel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a great photo. Everybody that came out yesterday, thank you. We appreciate you. You guys always overwhelm us. When we come back, we will scout the
we'll go offense.
We'll scout the Jags offense when we come back. It is JMart Ramon 104.5 The Zone. As a first-time home buyer, applying for your first home loan can seem like a daunting task. There's a lot that goes into it, but you don't have to worry because Mortgage Investors Group exists. They'll be here for you every single step of the way. They're going to help you get ahead of all the other buyers by getting pre-qualified before you ever even start looking. Pre-qualification gives you the bargaining power that you need. It's going to help you close quicker than the other guy. Really, if you're not getting pre-qualified, just don't expect to get the house that you want. The housing market, I read in the Wall Street Journal just a couple of weeks ago, not expected to go down, not expected to become more plentiful over the next year. So you've got to have something to get you ahead, and it is pre-qualification. You get pre-qualified, you will get moving. Mortgage Investors Group committed to helping Tennesseans fulfill their dreams of home ownership. Their mortgage experts are there to find and structure the mortgage that best fits your needs and achieves your goals. If that means a move, they've got you. If that means lowering your current payment and getting you a better rate, they got you there too. Mortgage Investors Group wants to be your home loan lender. I want you to let them. Let Mortgage Investors Group do the work for you. You will be glad you did. The website is migonline.com. The advice is there. The pre-qualification process is there. Offices to serve you in Hendersonville and Brentwood and Cool Springs. Everything you need. One-stop shop, migonline.com. Or text the 3 letters MIG. Text MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified and get moving. And tell them JMart sent you. It is Mortgage Investors Group, Equal Housing Lender, license number 109111.
Good morning, I'm Will Bowling. It was a night to forget for Rick Barnes in Tennessee basketball last night in New York City. Tennessee falls 57-52 to Texas Tech. They shot 6 for 40 from the three-point line, missing 19 of 21 from long distance in the second half and making just 8 of 16 attempts from the free throw line. Tennessee falls to 6-2 with the overtime loss, making just 19 of their 71 shots from the field. They got 10 points and 8 rebounds from John Fulkerson to lead the way in the Jimmy V Classic in Madison Square Garden. Roman Josi and the Nashville Predators secured a 5-2 win last night in Detroit over the Red Wings. Josi, who scored against 4 Detroit defenders for a first-period goal, added with a Ryan Johansson power play goal, led the Preds to a win that snapped Detroit's season-high 5-game winning streak and 5-game home winning streak as well. And the Titans on Tuesday activated safety Kevin Byard from the team's reserve COVID-19 list. Byard was placed on the list at the start of the bye week. In 12 games this season, he has 5 interceptions and a forced fumble. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Ugh.
What, man?
Trying to use the Touch ID on my computer, and all of a sudden it's not remembering anything.
Your computer said forget you?
It's just,
Figure it out, buddy.
I don't know.
Hey.
No dice. That's 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. Might need to clean it off. I don't know. I'm Jason Martin. Andrew Malone in for Jonathan Schaefer. Schaefer's back on Friday. We got Rhett Bryan coming up. The fourth hour of the show. We got Robert Mazie, Athletic, coming up next hour. Is Ink on today?
Yeah.
Ink is on at the end of the show with Midweek Motivation.
We need it.
We definitely need it. The Tennessee Vols basketball team needs it.
Need to cleanse it real quick, man.
It is Scout Meeting Wednesday. We've already done this once this year.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars on the docket, fresh off a 37-7 thrashing by the Rams.
I couldn't imagine, man. Have you ever been in a hopeless situation?
Yeah, I have every day from 6 to 10.
That was an easy layup right there.
Light work, Moan.
Say, you know what? Sometimes you got to drag it to the end, dog. Keep tricking them. That's what they say, Jay. Keep tricking them. What was that score again?
37-7.
Against
the Rams.
The Rams, the team that the Titans beat also, man. This is just, I couldn't have, like, I've gotten beaten before. I won't even act like we hadn't just got smoked before. Heck, the AFC Championship game, we went to New England. We got boat race. I won't even front. I'm talking about, like, hopeless. Like, get this over with. Stop throwing the ball. Let's run it. Like, I don't want to score quick. I want this clock to run. Get this over with. And you on the other side, stop scoring on us. Like, there's nothing worse than being defeated like that and having to finish it out. So they got smoked last week by 30 points by the Rams. They are 2-10 on the season. Just so the coach had a scandal, which, I mean, hey, that's his own personal stuff that's going on. Got a young stud rookie quarterback that can't get it together. It's bad. So let's dive into it. Jags are, this is Jags 2.0. I'll say this, though. This is a divisional game. They know each other. They played the Titans as close as anybody this season when it came down to their production, when it comes down to their play. You can tell just watching it on TV. I wasn't in the building. We'll have to ask Rhett B about that. But it seemed like they had a little bit more oomph about them when the Titans came to Jacksonville this last time. Mm-hmm. They had the pools up. People were just out there kicking it, having a good time. Because why? It's a divisional game against the Titans. It didn't work out for them, but it's always interesting playing divisional opponents. If you keep a game like this close, bad things can happen. And you don't want that to happen right now because the Titans got bigger goals than the Jags could ever imagine for the rest of this year. So Jags 2.0. Titans lead this series, actually, 33-21. Winning this game this weekend against the Jags at home for the Titans, it guarantees a 6th consecutive winning record for the Titans. It's clear to say Mike Vrabel has done a lot of good things with this team. One is putting them on the winning track. You build up on this foundation and continue to stack and grow to where you become one of those teams every year that becomes a standard of what your fan base expects from you, and also what the media expects from you also. So 6 consecutive winning season if they get this win this weekend. And again, as I said, the Jags are 2-10. And I've never had a record like that before. Worst record I ever had was in middle school. We played 6 football games. We were 1-5. That's the last time I think I had a losing record that bad. Never had a losing record in the NFL. We went 8-8 a few times. Basketball in high school, we were always above 500. I couldn't imagine being a pro athlete being 2-10. Like losing 10 games, and you got to sit on those losses week after week after week. At this point in the season for this Jaguars team, they are planning on car shipping. For the guys that live on the West Coast, hey, can you be in Jacksonville January 10th so I can ship my car out? Like that type of stuff is going on. You got guys finding time to end their leases, figure out who they're going to sell their homes to. It's just a bad vibe. And yeah, the money makes up for it, I would think, but you want to win.
Mm-hmm.
And people take less to go to winning programs, man. They're surviving and just really planning for the holidays at this point for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's all they really got to hold on to and just try to have fun and laugh it out. But they beat Miami 23-20, and also the Buffalo Bills, who I think everybody got a little bit ahead of on what their expectations were this year, including myself. I thought the Bills were going to be a whole lot better. They kept them close and they beat them. There was also guys on a Jaguar sideline that said, look, they don't deserve to win, so we're not going to let them. And they went out and beat them 9-6. And I said this in my notes, can't let bad teams stick around. Last time they played the Titans, it was possibly the Jags' best game. Offensively for the Jaguars, they ranked 25th in the league. They're tied 17th in the run and 25th in the pass. Not a good stat to have offensively, as high-powered as offenses are in the league right now. They've had 2 100-yard rushing games since they played the Titans. They are averaging 110 yards rushing a game, it says, but that's because they had some high rushing games and earlier in the season. Averaging also this, too, 4.7 yards a rush. Putting up through the air 201.8 passing yards a game. They do have, this is a losing recipe, though, 19 fumbles on the season, losing 11 of them. Just bad business. Trevor Lawrence, the young stud, the young GOAT, been tabbed as the guy since he left high school, since he came out of high school. 58% completion rate on the year. He's got 9 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Sacked 22 times, also has 241 yards rushing on the ground and 2 touchdowns. He averages, when he runs, 4.9 yards a carry. Young stud. He will be good. Again, beat him down while you can now while he's young. Set a tone on him. James Robinson, a little bit of a down year. His highest rushing game, though, did come against the Titans in their losing effort. He had 149 yards that game. He has also not had higher than 86 yards since that. Not really a threat in the pass game either. Other guys on that offense, Carlos Hyde, 251 yards on the ground. He's become just a guy this year. Trevor Lawrence is also their next running threat after that. Laviska Shenault and Marvin Jones are their threats through the air, period. Jones got 540 yards receiving, and Chenault's got 471. I'll be honest with you. This is a low-hanging team.
Yeah, but look, if you can lose to the Texans,
No.
you can lose to anybody.
That's true.
Not saying you're going to. I'm just saying at this point in time, there's never going to be you can't lose this game.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Looking at Football Outsiders real quick, Jacksonville is 29th in weighted DVOA.
Mm-hmm.
27th in offense. They're 13.6% worse than an average offense in the NFL. And they are 12% worse defensively than an average defensive unit in the NFL, which is good for 31st overall.
Golly.
It ain't good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Urban's not happy. Trevor Lawrence is not. He hadn't even lost back-to-back games
Mm-hmm.
in his life at any level of football.
He left not even middle school.
And
Like
now
me.
he's experiencing it on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And people even like, oh, is he overrated? Like, no, they're just
No.
bad. And it's a terrible situation. When you're in a toxic situation, it's really hard to evaluate anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a difficult spot, you're in a difficult spot, which is why we haven't been killing Tannehill, because he's in a difficult spot right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's bad. They're, again, like I said, they're planning for the holidays.
James Robinson doesn't seem like he wants to be there anymore because they didn't show any love to him.
And then they go draft a guy in the first round.
And now he's been putting the ball on the ground a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a great situation. This is a team. This is a get-right team. That's what I told Emily Proud yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a team you should get right against. If you're the Titans, you're reeling just a little bit. You're trying to get healthy, all that kind of stuff.
Coming off the bye.
This should be the moment where you show up and do to them what the Rams did to them, because the Rams needed a get-up game. They needed a get-right game.
Yeah.
And the Jags came to town. You've got the 49ers and the Steelers and the Dolphins. In Pittsburgh's not going to be easy, even if Roethlisberger has one arm. The Niners are still in the mix in the NFC. Their defense is solid. Garoppolo is Jekyll and Hyde. He's either pretty good or he's not good at all. He was terrible on Sunday. But they've got playmakers that scare you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins are trending in the right direction and are not out of it either.
Just enough to scare you.
So this is the one you got to have if you're Tennessee. You can't drop this game. You got 5 more. You've still got a shot at that number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think New England's going undefeated the rest of the way.
They got a little bit of a hectic schedule too.
But
So,
if you can avoid going on the road, then you need to do it. This is just can't lay an egg here.
no.
Whoever's available to you, you got to put them out there and you got to win this game. Tannehill's got to win this game. They got to be able to run the ball. They got to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
They got to make Trevor Lawrence uncomfortable and make Urban wish he'd never taken the job.
Yeah. There might be 1 or 2 more college job openings. You want him to lie about saying he'd never take a job again. Cold, man. Yeah, this team is bad. I won't even front. But Titans must not do what the fans expect them to do.
Go ahead.
This fan base always says they always do this, and I'm thinking to myself, they can't do it this week.
I did not realize what time it was. 615-737-1045. I see Mike on the line. We'll get to him after this break. That's scouting the Jags offense. In short, you should be able to take advantage of them.
Better.
I'll be right back. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hey, you deserve all the comforts of home, and that includes endless hot water at your fingertips. I've been telling you about tankless water heaters now for months. Powered by new recirculation systems, we're talking energy savings, money savings, time savings, space savings, and the time just not standing there in freezing cold temperatures like we've had the last couple of days, waiting on the hot water to get there. Endless hot water at your fingertips, and Lee Company has a deal for you. How about $500 off, a limited time offer, so you don't want to wait too long. $500 off or special financing on a tankless water heater. Now's the time to make this move. Do it for the whole family. Make it a Christmas gift. $500 off or special financing on a tankless water heater. Once you experience it, you'll wonder how you ever survived without it. Don't miss out on this great deal. They can't do it forever, but they're doing it right now for the holidays. Call Lee Company today, 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company at 615-567-1000. Give it a thought. It'll be a good one. Tankless water heaters powered by new recirculation system. 615-567-1000. Limited time offer, $500 off or special financing on your brand new tankless water heater today. 615-567-1000 or online at leecompany.com. Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 is Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Thanks to everybody who came out for Toy Field yesterday. Another big-time success. Golden Oak Lending and Embright Credit Union and Jim Nance popping up. We'll ask Red about that.
Cool
since
stuff.
he ran into him there. I think he showed up like when 3HL was on. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think there was a show on the air at that point in time.
But Rhett them were still down there collecting up.
Meaning
until
on the
6.
air from there, I should say.
Yeah, from the location.
Yeah, Rhett was there. Brought me a Coke Zero Sugar Cherry.
Rhett's just a stud.
It's good people.
He's just a stud.
It's good people. I'm looking at Kenny Pickett faking the slide. We talked about it. Can't let that happen for too long. Because people will start doing it all the time.
What's to come from that, you think?
I mean, you look at it in the offseason, whenever you're about to slide, I think that's when the play has to be blown dead. Like at the moment where you can say, okay, you were about to slide, that's when the ball's got to be placed right there.
Because on a baseball slide with quarterbacks, they actually down them where the slide starts.
Yes.
Yeah. It should have been
Because if not, people would be like Clark Griswold out here with like oiling up their pants so that they could like slide to the 5 from the 25.
I've gone up against them. Speaking of oiling up, they pat us down.
I don't want you to be real careful about where you're going here, Mom.
I'm not going anywhere. They pat us down like offensive and defensive linemen before we go on the field, right? Well, you probably know that, but they pat us down because I don't think they want you doing extra. Like, you can't have foreign substances on you. So they pat us down. They pick like 4 guys. Hey, come here, pat you down real quick. Because what I've learned going against certain guys, defensive linemen are slick, literally and figuratively, okay? Some of them will put like Vaseline on their shoulder pads and stuff like that, or on their jerseys, so that your hands slip off them and stuff like that. It is some savvy veteran guys in this league, man, to where if there's ever a little edge, the old saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Well, let's just say my gloves have come off real greasy going against some defenders in this league, man. I love the back and forth of that type of stuff, trying to find an edge somewhere. And that Pickett half slide touchdown is one of those, well, you didn't get me. Oh, by the way, glad we're here, and I'm glad you wore that jacket in, because now I can attack you. Our guy, Aqib Talib.
Yeah.
On the Manning cast this past weekend. He was, I forget what play it was, but he brought up the fact, the biggest conversation I ever had to you about Peyton playing against him in Denver was what? The slide where he gave up.
Oh,
and
right.
Aqib
Okay,
on the
right.
Manning cast said this, and I love Peyton. He's a VFL, one of the greatest ever played, a Hall of Famer and everything. Aqib dropped the bomb and was like, no, I don't know what the play was they were talking about. He was like, I ain't ever seen that, but Peyton, I saw you slide one time and get up and complete a pass. And Peyton's face turned red. He was looking around like, oh, Aqib, you just said the quiet part out loud. And I was thinking to myself, thank you, Aqib. I remember that, because he was supposed to be blown dead. I am vindicated now, Jay. I love Aqib because of that.
Look, man, gamesmanship. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I know, but I'm glad. I was for years, I'm like, he should have been blown dead. He should have been blown dead.
You're right.
And he gave himself up and got up and completed a pass. And Peyton's just laughing it off, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, you got away with one.
Peyton going full Captain Kirk. Did you see the tweet with him and Shatner next to each other wearing the yellow Star Trek outfit, just wearing the yellow V-neck sweater on Monday night? What are you doing, Peyton?
I saw, but Aqib
White
Talib.
people got to stay away from yellow. My wife told me that.
She did.
Well, I don't own any yellow. The skin tone, you just wash out.
Just what are you got jaundice right
That's
now?
why the Predators got it wrong.
Your skin got jaundice right
You got all these yellow things. People don't. It's not a good look. Apparently, broke my heart.
Hey, Aqib justified my thought, man.
Grandmama gave me that chain, Aqib.
I was praying that he asked him.
I wanted
about
that. I wanted to hear about that. I wanted to hear about that. Let's go to Mike in Cleveland. Cuzzo, what's up?
What's up, Mike?
What's up, yo? What's up
Hey.
with it? Yo, Ramon Capone. Next, you got to start giving names, man. You got to start letting us know who these what you call them, crafty veterans was that had to, we need names, bro.
Mike, but
But-
snitches get stitches and ended up in ditches, man. I don't want to be that guy. Did we lose Mike on the road?
Mike?
Oh, see?
Mike.
They were listening.
You got outed.
See, that's the reason I can't name
You
drop.
just got.
You just got.
They're in charge of the lines. So Marcus Freeman, head coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I love this dude.
You like that hire, man?
I love this dude. I love the videos.
Yeah.
I love even videos of him from past practices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Listen to this on being a player's coach from Marcus Freeman.
Okay.
I'm going to read this quote.
Go ahead.
Tell me you wouldn't want everybody you know that you care about to play for this guy. Listen, I know I've been labeled as a player's coach, and I'm proud to wear that badge, but I'll be honest, I think there's a misconception about a player's coach that, the players like him, he's their buddy. And my players know this. Just because I don't walk around like I have to put fear in their hearts, that doesn't mean the demands aren't going to be extremely high. I've always been a believer that being a coach doesn't mean there has to be some constant level of discomfort for kids to reach their goals. You can be very demanding and still make people feel good, still make people feel important as long as they believe that you have their best interest at heart. That's the coach I've always been, and I'm going to stay true to that. These kids today are so smart. They're so intelligent, and they know what's real and what's phony. If you're not authentic, they'll see right through you.
Yeah.
I love this dude.
Yeah. Which for the longest, people have fought that stigma for the longest time. Heck, I think we heard somebody recently, I think it was Jayon that said if Vrabel was a player's coach or, that term get thrown. Of course, Coach Tomlin get criticized for being a player's coach. Pete Carroll is another one. Sean McVay is another one. That term gets thrown around, but you also got to say this too. Those guys get the most out of their players for the most part too. I mean, look at what they say about Heupel a little bit here and there.
But at the same thing, it's not like it's easy to play for them.
No. Playing for Mike T, I'm going to speak on my experience real quick, and I'm sure it's the same way from what we've understand with Mike Vrabel in that room. So next time we have a tight end, we'll have to ask him, is he a player's coach, meaning their relationship. I always explained this. I always kind of gave this explanation when people ask me about Coach Tomlin. Well, is he too soft on you guys and this, and that? He's a coach that doesn't give much outside to the media. Vrabel is ice cold with the media, is he not? Coach Tomlin, ice cold with the media. Both of those dudes, Bill Belichick, it was good to hear Keeb kind of confirm what we thought about him. Like, he just don't like the nonsense. Do your job. He's cool. Mike T is a guy, man, I can call him Mike T. But there's also respect factor where it's like, hey, coach, I need to talk to you. It's there. I respect you. It's yes, sir. It's this. I know that he wants me to do my job in a comfort setting, kind of like Notre Dame's new coach is.
Right.
But in that, being comfortable, he's counting on you to always work, know your assignment, and don't step out of line. He'll tell you, don't get fired on your day off.
Right.
That means a lot, and you understand what that means. Like, you can say it in a joking manner. But if we've had guys come back from summer break, got a DUI or got arrested, and you feel like the whole building's about to collapse on you. Like, that's what a player coach does. He allows you to be a grown man. Imagine if you're doing your job, Jay, and somebody critiquing every little thing about you.
Imagine.
You feel me?
Imagine.
You should do this, Jason. Hey, it's better if you go do that. Hey, I suggest that we do this. Well, what about me? I'm the one that's out there giving my all for you. I'm the one that's putting my body up against everybody. I'm putting my mental capacity that I have. I'm giving my all on the line. Why not make that work environment good? It's a mutual respect factor.
I mean, I even look at it like a spin class or Peloton or something like that, right? Like, I want a really hard workout. I also want my instructor to make me believe that they believe that I can succeed.
100%.
And there's a difference between cursing at me, using all this foul language and all this other kind of stuff. I've never been in a class like that, but I would be out of a class like that. Me, it was like, you're not going to talk to me like that. Like, at least make me feel like we're in this thing for me to succeed. Not that you're trying to browbeat me continually. doesn't mean that you're going to take it easy on me.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that I'm not going to have an incredibly tough workout and I'm not going to want to throw up at the end of it. It's just going to mean that I feel like you've got my back.
Yeah.
And that you actually want me to succeed for something other than your own bank account.
Thank you. So, a great point has been brought up in Zone Chat. If you guys are following us, we're on YouTube TV at 104.5 The Zone. You can catch us on Twitch also. This is a really good conversation right here to be had. Cousin Danny in the Borough is a known Cincinnati fan. His comment is Marvin Lewis was the epitome of a player's coach, and those teams just broke my heart for 2 decades. I hate the label. Okay. Marvin Lewis, yes. All his players would run through a wall for him, and they did. He let the players create the culture, and it was awesome for them. They had a lot of winning success under Marvin Lewis also. This is the other part of it. We were in that same boat too. Since he ran into Pittsburgh, okay, we ran into New England. Sometimes you might just have a bad luck with who's playing. Tom Brady was playing for years.
Well, dude, that's the same thing as how many NBA teams didn't win championships because Michael Jordan happened to be playing at the same time they did, or LeBron James happened to be playing at the same time they did. It's like the Jazz are an all-time great team. That Malone, Stockton, Hornacek,
talk about it, man.
like all those guys, like those were all-time great NBA teams. They're not going
and
to
Hall
be
of Famers.
Yeah, with multiple Hall of Famers on them, but they couldn't beat the best that's ever done it. It's the same thing as Barkley never went in a ring because he played in Jordan's era. He played with Magic, and Magic's Lakers, Birds, Celtics were better overall teams than his Sixers. Then he goes to Phoenix. He gets to the NBA Finals in 95, and there's friggin' Jordan waiting for him again, coming back from baseball, and then it's a wrap.
And then after that, he had to go through Houston again. Yeah. Like, Charles is a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it.
Yep.
League MVP, all of those things. He didn't have a bad coach. It was the fact that you just run against better teams on better days. Like, I look at this matchup between the Titans and the Ravens. And the Titans always find a way to get the Ravens for the most part. That's not to say John Harbaugh isn't a good coach, because he's gotten Coach of the Year or players coach at that. It's just that sometimes you run into a matchup that it ain't built for you. Like, look at what the Jags did against the Bills. That was probably a matchup thing on top of them playing bad also. Or the Titans against the Rams. The Rams are a good team. The matchups are to say that the Titans are going to beat them, and they did. So to say that, man, this coach is a bad coach and he's a player's coach because he let his guys have a little freedom. They can do a TikTok. They have marketing outside of what the team suggests. You can't necessarily give that stigma to a coach because he's a player's coach. I've known all the player coaches I've been around. Like Coach Fulmer, he was a stern guy. But you can have a conversation with him. I can have my personality that I have right now. But I know if I cross that line, Jay, it's like the uncle that allows you, hey, Ron, I'll just use him for my boys. Me and my wife are going to go out of town. Hey, RJ and Miles staying with Uncle Ron. Cool. Uncle Ron probably going to leave the house. He probably going, hey, RJ and Miles, y'all be cool. Y'all be cool. We going to run out. Y'all do y'all thing. It's understood that they get a little bit more freedom at Uncle house. But if they break something or the house catch on fire, it's going to be a world of pain.
Well, think about this. You weren't here for this, but when Brad Willis was the longtime guy in charge of the Zone, I had so many conversations with Brad about Back to the Future, Lost, hours of pro wrestling talk, days worth of pro wrestling talk with me and David Reed, and Brandon Haggerty, and Jonathan Hutton. I mean, just sitting around talking about stuff.
Just the guys.
And when it was time for me to have Clara Grace, Brad would chime in with a little bit of advice here and there, even though he wasn't here anymore. And when I was single and down in the dumps about it, and wondering if I was maybe I was that friend in everybody's group that was just going to be the single one that just couldn't seem to land, couldn't find somebody. He was always there. But I also knew the other side of Brad, which was he's going to run the Zone in a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
And he's going to expect a certain level of quality from you. And when he asked me to do something, I wanted to please him. I wanted to succeed in that because I knew the standards that he had for the radio station that he was running.
Right.
He could do everything in this building. If there was an engineering issue, he could take care of it. If there was a board issue, he could take care of it. If somebody needed to host and there was nobody here, he could step onto the microphone and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he had been there and done that. I had a tremendous amount of respect for what he had built, who he had hired, all this kind of stuff. He was a friend. We talked about video games and everything else under the sun. But
player coach.
There was also a time where when it was time to interview for a certain job years and years ago, and I just wanted to go through the process. I knew I wasn't going to get this, but I just wanted to go through the process. Brad was my friend. The door would always be open. Rhett would be across the hall. We'd sit there and joke and everything else. When I came in for that interview, he's got a jacket on. I walked in that door, and he closed that door.
Yeah.
And it was a totally different environment. But I still believe that Brad was players' coach.
Yeah.
But in the same way as a Mike Tomlin or the way Marcus Freeman sounds here.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at him and say, that might be the best supervisor at any job that I've ever had. And as you well know, I've had like 40 jobs in my life.
but it's to that point before we come out, it's a great conversation we had because I hate that player coach label.
Well, it seems like it's a slight because it's like, oh, you're just letting them do whatever they want.
No. It's the uncle. You can come over my house, do whatever you want to. You better not touch that liquor cabinet. You better not break nothing, and nothing mischievous better go too far. Because it'll be hell to pay. And that's the attitude that you get from that. So that conversation about Notre Dame's head coach or Vrabel or just, a bunch of coaches that get that label. As a player, you get the most out of your guys when, like you said, they're in the field with you. Mm-hmm. I know if you asking me to take this set, you can take that set too. It's a working relationship. I know if you want me to write up something, well, you can write that up too. I respect you enough to realize that, look, I'm not going to step out of line, but I got my freedoms in this workplace. You get the most out of it.
Oh, yeah.
You get the most out of people that way.
Environment where they give you freedom, and it's not, oh, I can do whatever I want. It's, oh, they trust me.
Yeah.
They see me as an adult. They believe in me. They know I'm not going to step outside the boundary. So they're going to give me the freedom because they know I'm not going to burn the joint down.
Or when we used to break for the summer before camp, Coach would say this, I don't care what y'all do this summer. And he did. But it ended with this, physical conditioning precedes anything else. And that laid the whole land of the lay for what was expected when you reported back to camp. Like, he didn't care what you did or how you did it, but you better be in shape because I don't want to know what's on the other side because you only gave me one rule for the offseason. Physical conditioning precedes anything else. Be ready to go when it's time to work. And that wasn't a hammer, ruling with an iron fist, but you understood what that mean even sitting right there like, you better be right when you
why did I squander piano lessons when I was a kid?
Yeah.
Because I didn't practice.
Yeah.
I would go back. Everything else that happened in a week, my teacher didn't care.
Yeah.
She just cared that I couldn't play Alouetta. And so I washed right on out. 615-737-1045. 737-1045 is the telephone number. I just looked at the Jags numbers. Let's look at the Jags numbers again. It's just not good, man.
It's not good.
It's really, really, really not good. Also not good was that college basketball game that we all tried to watch last night.
Still go Vols.
We'll jump back into that a little bit when we come back. JMart, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. It's JMart. Next time you're at home, I want you to look around, see if you notice doors and windows sticking, and you noticed them doing that in the summertime, and you thought, oh, well, it gets warm, and sometimes the doors will change a little bit. Maybe the foundation settled a bit. Well, that actually is a problem. Maybe you got cracks in your bricks, bowling basement wall, chimneys leaning. All of them are signs, yes, of a possible foundation issue. When it comes to foundation repair, nobody does it better than my friends at United Structural Systems. Serving Middle Tennessee for over 25 years. Better Business Bureau with the A+ rating. Locally owned. Not a franchise, which means the way they work is they customize a solution for you and your family depending on your specific needs. They give you a detail-free estimate before you have to make a decision. They're going to tell you what's going on. They're going to tell you what it's going to cost. They're going to tell you what goes into it. Then you make the call. Then you don't pay a dime until the work's done. They finish that job before you have to pay a cent. Over 20,000 satisfied customers and counting can tell you you can feel phenomenal about placing this call. These foundation issues, they can be costly, but they only get more costly. They're devaluing your home. They're shortening the life of your home. You have to step up and take advantage of United Structural Systems and the expertise that they can put to work for you. 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275 or online at ussTN.com. United Structural Systems. Yeah, I saw that. Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Robert Mays of The Athletic will join us second segment next hour. One of our favorites. Looking forward to that conversation. He had a really interesting topic about offensive linemen on Sunday night's podcast with Nate Tice. I'm going to ask him to ask the question that he posed on that podcast to Ramon because I want Ramon's answer to it, but I want Robert to ask the question. He's not going to be prepared for that, so hopefully it'll work.
Oh, wow.
We're going to try Cousin Mike again.
Come on, man.
Call him back again. Mike, what's going on?
What's up? My bad.
All good.
I had an important business phone call about my loan. But yo, what I was calling about Julio, but also Jason. You know, we love you. You know, we had a lot of beef. You know, earlier in the season, but I think Ramon and I know Caples will back me up on this. Whenever you was the heel and we was going through that beef, man, the Titans was winning. So we need you to keep that same energy.
Jacksonville's going to whoop that ass on Sunday, Mike.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Keep that energy, baby. But, my question, though, about Julio, y'all remember I really wasn't big on Julio. I didn't want to give up a first or even a second-round pick for Julio. Y'all remember I wasn't like, yeah, we got to get him to Tennessee. But he here now. AJ, he injured. We haven't got to see the offense like how we hope, So right now we need that Julio. We need him. So I guess my question is, what will be like? It's two questions really. What will be a successful game for Julio this Sunday, and what is going to solidify this trade moving forward? Because I think if he comes out, he plays good, we get into the playoffs, and he don't necessarily do good in the playoffs, but he was the key component that got us there, I'm cool with that. If he don't do good in these next few games and he shows up big in the playoffs, I'm cool with that. But if it's the same as we've been seeing this whole season, where he just injured, y'all know me. I'm gonna be like, I told you. So but much love, man, and thanks for letting me get that question out. Deuces, yo.
Sure, Mike. He said deuces and then tried to talk.
Don't even apologize. This the energy he wanted. He gets it.
Mike, you got sniped because you suck.
Sit your $5.
Yeah. After the top of the hour headlines, we'll address the question Mike just asked. We'll talk a little bit about Julio Jones. That's next. It is JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
When it comes to car customizations here around Nashville, there's a few places to go to, but one of the main places you want to go to is Brian's Motorsports. I have been a guy who's gone and got work done personally on my vehicles, and let me tell you, whether you've got a Ford truck, a Bronco, a Jeep, a car, a 4Runner, whatever it is, they got something for you. I've seen a Ferrari in the lobby. I've seen a Rolls Royce there. I've seen a Ford truck. I've seen every car imaginable there. If you got an old school car, Brian's Motorsports is the place you want to be at in Hendersonville, 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And I'm here to tell you this, too. Next Tuesday coming up, JMart and Ramon will be live on site at Brian's Motorsport December the 14th from 6 to 10 a.m. We will have some surprises for you. It may be a Titan or two dropping by, a big day. And it is holiday season, and it's the perfect time to upgrade your kid's truck or car, your wife's truck or car, whatever you want to do. It's the perfect gift to give this holiday season. And if you've been dreaming of a custom design for your car, call Brian's Motorsports. Whether it's the lift, custom wheels, leather interior, audio and electronics, window tinting, or a vinyl wrap, Brian's Motorsport is the home of fresh cutting-edge custom builds for all brands of vehicles, including your exotics. I've seen a C8 there and a Ferrari, just so you know, and a Tesla. Are you a Jeep owner that wants the ultimate off-road performance? Brian's Motorsport is the undisputed leader of Jeep customization. Bronze Motorsports can give it an aggressive off-road appearance and performance that's made Bronze Motorsport an undisputed leader of off-road upgrades. They offer tire and wheel packages, which are hard to come by in this market with the pandemic. Lift kits, lighting kits, winches, interior and audio customization, graphics, and a combination of everything listed from mile to wild to make your off-road experience what you dreamed of. What makes them different is they listen to you. If you know Brian, you know that to be true. The customer, hearing your vision and putting together your dream vehicle. Dream Design Build was inspired by their team wanting to make your dreams come true. Bronze Motorsports, specializing in lifts, tires and rims, custom interiors, winches, step bars, grills, lighting, and graphics. Go see the people that I know at Bronze Motorsports. Again, at 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Good morning, I'm Will Bowling. It was a night to forget for Rick Barnes and Tennessee basketball last night in New York City. Tennessee falls 57-52 to Texas Tech. They shot 6 for 40 from the three-point line, missing 19 of 21 from long distance in the second half and making just 8 of 16 attempts from the free throw line. Tennessee falls to 6-2 with the overtime loss, making just 19 of their 71 shots from the field. They got 10 points and 8 rebounds from John Fulkerson to lead the way in the Jimmy V Classic in Madison Square Garden. Despite a 3-point shot as time expired to send the game to overtime, Temple knocked off Vanderbilt last night 72-68. It's the second straight loss against an American Athletic Conference foe for the Commodores, who was coming off an 84-72 defeat over the weekend to SMU. And the Titans on Tuesday activated safety Kevin Byard from the team's reserve COVID-19 list. Byard was placed on the list at the start of the bye week. In 12 games this season, he has 5 interceptions and a forced fumble. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 3, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. So I've been wondering why, I've been a little bit late going to breaks, and then I went into my alarms, and I had them all turned off because of when I was sick.
Yeah.
I had them so they weren't hitting me every time because of the phone actually, my watch, the haptics hit, and it vibrates when it's time to go to a break. So they haven't been doing it, and I kind of forgot about it because for 2 weeks I didn't need it.
Yeah.
But I need it again now. So now I've got them all set back, so hopefully we can get back on the schedule. Robert Mays, the Athletic, will join us in the next segment. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, we've been thugging on this clock.
I wondered what was going on.
Doesn't matter.
I was like, Jay
Here's
want
a
to
dirty
roll
little
with
secret.
it?
The clock doesn't matter.
The clock doesn't matter.
The clock is a lie.
Streets is a myth.
It is a lie. So I don't know how, but the NFC is worse than the AFC. Outside of the teams that you like
As
up
far
top,
as-
like wild card teams.
Okay.
I mean, does anybody actually want to make the playoffs in the NFC?
It don't look like it. How did we get here?
I don't know.
As far as
Tampa
these
Bay,
teams.
Green Bay, Arizona.
Yeah, but
Then outside of that's kind of the Rams, kind of the Cowboys.
kindas.
Washington 6-6, but they're in it.
But you don't really believe that they're gonna push somebody
No,
to the limit. They'll
not
fizzle
really.
out. Yeah.
The Niners, kind of maybe. The rest of the NFC East, not really. NFC South,
Do you trust the Cowboys?
the Saints are probably out of it. They got a lot of talent.
Bless his heart.
I know that's miscongeniality, isn't it?
Bless his heart.
They got a lot of things I like, but they also have Mike McCarthy
Yeah.
and Dan Quinn with a backwards hat.
With a back hat. What was that? You got to really.
I don't know, man.
You're not Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, you're not. It's not the
kid.
home run derby contest.
No, you're a ball coach. Let me go. Can I go real quick? There's tons and tons of coaches
What you
that'll
gotta
tell
do?
a kid, no, it's something small and petty. It's tons and tons of kids that'll tell, turn that hat forwards, kid. Hey, walk like this, do this. And I'm thinking to myself, you got an NFL coach on the sideline with his hat backwards.
Well, I guess he was in the booth, right?
No, he was on the field.
I know he had to coach on Thursday because of COVID.
He was on the field.
Okay.
He might as well have had a cigarette in his mouth the way he was coaching. They won. It was a lesser opponent, though. But, hey, that's neither here nor there.
That was the Saints.
Put a cigarette in his mouth.
Saints in another one. They also, well, I mean, with them, with all their injuries, I get it.
Yeah. Niners are the 7th seed.
But like
6-6.
Minnesota
Yeah.
lost to the Lions.
Mm.
It's weird.
It is weird. Yeah, the NFC bottom might be terrible. Pause. I give you 4. And are the Rams actually going to make a push?
I mean, again, they have the talent that you like, but they've made so many moves.
Yeah.
Is it going to pan out with Odell against somebody that's not Jacksonville?
What's the role for Vaughn?
Right. I mean, he hadn't really done much of anything.
Yes, and I know he's still a bad man. Aaron Donald. By the way, his little brother is on Pitt's team. Looks just like him.
That's frightening.
That's frightening. I don't know if he's playing a whole lot right now, but
Sure, it's not him.
It could.
Aaron Donald suiting up on Saturdays.
He goes back to Pitt a lot in the offseason. But his little brother, I was like, golly, is that a twin? But he's not having the defensive player of the year this year, also campaign this year. It seems like either they're double teaming him really well or teams have found a way to go at him and attack him this year. And yeah, he's still the guy, but that night Jeff bested him on national TV. We hadn't heard a whole lot from him.
I mean, he did throw down.
Who was it he tossed?
He threw down somebody Sunday and forced a fumble.
I mean, well, that's what he does. Again, like I said, I'm not saying he's not a bad man. He is. He's just not on the campaign considering the guys they have on that defense.
No, I mean, the defensive player of the year is probably TJ.
Yeah.
If Trevon Diggs were to have a nice last 5 games, maybe you talk about him because of the amount of turnovers that he has. But I would say TJ's a betting favorite, and TJ probably is the favorite.
He's going to get it.
Speaking of betting favorites for the Super Bowl, the two teams with the highest percentage chance to reach the Super Bowl per Vegas, Bucs and Patriots.
Bucs. Stop. KC's right behind it, I'm guessing?
They're in the mix.
So, okay, speaking of the NFC real quick, AFC side real quick. You don't believe in Green Bay?
Oh, I do. I still have number 1 in my power rankings.
Okay. But as far as betting favorites, a head-to-head against Tampa, they're losing that is what you think. Or is what Vegas is saying.
I mean, that's what happened last year, but I still could see Green Bay getting there. I didn't have either one of them. I had the Rams in the Super Bowl.
You did. I had Green Bay, Kansas City. Kansas City right now is the 4th seed, leading in the AFC West.
But I'd say most people think they're the it's probably Patriots Chiefs in most people's minds.
We got 5 games left though. That Bills Patriots matchup 2.0 is going to be very interesting to look at. And who gets the bye and everything else. If the Titans get it, I was thinking the 49ers game on Thursday was going to be a headache when they got to play them. I don't think that anymore. 49ers are just like a black cat that won't pop on the 4th of July.
It depends. Like there are times when they show up and they're very dangerous, and there are times when they're not. Kittle is unbelievable. The tiptoe move down the sidelines on Sunday.
Yeah, it was cold.
Tight end should not be able to do that. Like from an athletic standpoint, he's about as special as I've ever seen. He's incredible.
Athletically, mentality more than anything.
The most stunning thing, though, I think probably maybe in the NFL this year is Gronk.
Why is that?
Because it's not like he's just there collecting a check.
That's true.
He's one of the best tight ends in the league.
That's true. Still,
after taking a year off and going through all those injuries and all that, he's dominating.
Playmaking ability is always
remember when
there.
he was brought in, you're like, oh, well, they've got Brayton, they've got O.J. Howard. He'll be the 3rd tight end. He'll be nice to have. He'll make a play here and there. No.
Where is O.J. Howard now? I had so much hope for that dude coming out of Bama, right?
Everybody did.
Golly, he can't get right, man.
There's just something. There's something. Well, first, I mean, health has certainly dodged him, but he also got in BA's doghouse and never got out.
I told you who else was in that doghouse.
AB
was in that doghouse.
I knew that because just listening to Arian's comments on him before he got there.
BA don't play. As one coach that will, like, he holds you to a point. And I guess it depends on what you do with BA. I was never one of his doghouse guys, so I can't say that. He demands a lot. And his delivery, you got to be built for it. And when he say something, is stand to it. So he needed a guy like Byron Leftwich with him to kind of smooth everything over, or Tom Brady on that roster too.
You just needed Tom to say, "No, I want him."
Yeah,
because he's the one with the power.
Now they're talking about AB might get cut because of the COVID situation stuff. the false card. Like, come on, Antonio.
What's weird about that is the whole like he's vaccinated but used a fake card.
I think he did it after the fact.
That's what I think too. It's the whole thing is just it seems so dumb.
It is
and unnecessary.
If he went ahead and did it and submitted the fake one, I was just like, oh, come on, AB. You know BA don't play that.
It's just the kind of thing where it's just like, you think about the ramifications of it, and it's just like, why?
Just go through the extra protocol stuff. Like,
yeah, if you don't want to do it, just go through the protocols, whether you like it or not. That's the rule.
Workplace rules, Jay. We got them here, don't we?
We do.
Just got to live with it. God.
You got to live with it, or you got to find somewhere else to work if the company has made a decision you don't like. Or if they stand up for values you don't believe in.
Yep.
And that's fine. Like I said, the only problem with the Aaron Rodgers thing, it's not that he didn't get vaxxed. It's just flat out that he didn't want to face the consequence, so he didn't even stand up and say, here's why I'm not getting vaxxed. If he had said that from the very beginning, then no problem at all.
Good to go. There's others that did. Beasley's
I mean, some
fine.
people would have had a problem. I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
I don't have a problem. Cole Beasley's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
I didn't realize he was missing a tooth.
I did not. I was 5 seconds old from now when I knew that. I didn't know that until right now.
Yeah, just regular. He does it. He's missing a tooth, man.
Put a gold tooth in since he's doing rap albums. CB4.
Thing went plastic.
CB4. Cole Beasley. CB11.
It might be his name.
It could work.
I wouldn't buy it or stream it.
You would stream it. Yes, you would.
Get no play.
Yes, you would.
It gets no play in the Pinto, baby.
You can have CB11. I'll keep MF Doom.
I'll keep Young Jeezy.
What about the new Jeezy, the one that's dancing and with the Hennessy video that came out a few weeks ago?
I told you, my era of music is where I'm stuck at right now. I'll listen to some new stuff here and there.
Well, dude, that's the way everybody
I'm that
is.
age now.
Usually, like, the music you listen to around college, in your high school and college years is the stuff you stick to. And it's true for me, too. I do listen to some new stuff, some new rock, some new alternative, a little bit of new hip-hop here and there. But, like, generally, the stuff that I'm still going to is the playlist from 95, turn of the century, like right around there.
Yeah, I'm high school. I go 2000 to about 2012 is where my era is. And it might be a sprinkle of two with J. Cole and Drake and everything.
Right, that's what
else.
I'm saying. There is some new stuff, but not a ton. You tend to, and I think most of the listeners out there would agree. Yeah, I'm still listening to stuff I listened to in high school and college.
Music is so depressing with these young kids.
Everything's depressing with these young kids.
I just said these young kids.
I know.
Am I
You're old. Yeah, you are. Robert Mays of The Athletic is next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's JMart. I want to talk to you about Michael Ramsey, my pal over at PAI Medical, and the help they're giving to thousands of men and women when it comes to their hair loss. Michael Ramsey and PAI, they've been doing this for over 25 years in Nashville. His staff, absolute experts, just A+, MVPs at what they do. There is simply no one better. I'm actually going to see them a little bit later today, as a matter of fact. A couple months ago, I went to PAI. I'd heard some people that had gone there, had a little bit of hair loss in my family. I knew my crown was thinning just a little bit. Wasn't really anything that's ever bothered me, but if there's something that can be done about it, yeah, let's talk to them. After I talked to them, I saw their plan and just got to know them as human beings. I all of a sudden wanted a procedure I'd never even thought about before. Shared values, sat there and talked sports with them, and so I did it. I did the surgical route, but if you don't want to do the surgical route, they have the most advanced non-surgical options anywhere in the country. Laser therapy treatments, PRP, nutrient-rich plasma extracted from your blood, concentrated before being reintroduced for your scalp. All this stuff sounds expensive, but really when it comes to cost, they've got affordable payment plans that can fit anybody's budget. If it's just something that's been nagging you, bothering you, you're going back, you're looking at old wedding photos, you're looking at college photos, and you just realize, yeah, you know what? Not as confident up there as I'd like to be. I'd just like to maybe take that one off the list. Well, PAI is here. PAI Medical Group helping Nashville for over a quarter of a century, and all they do is hair. And you'll know it because nobody does it better than them. It's very clear that they're spending their focus on hair. Here's the telephone number to call them. I want you to tell them JMart sent you. 615-376-6010. 615-376-6010 to get Michael or one of his expert staff, get their opinion, see what their plan is, see if it's a fit for you. Tell them JMart sent you. I promise you, it could be a life-changing day for you. 615-376-6010 or online at wegrowhair.com. That's wegrowhair.com. The internet, man. You showed me the video of the cat and the dog during the break, Moan. And then earlier in the show, we're sitting here joking about the fact that a man sued his wife because their baby was ugly and won $125,000.
After she spent $100,000 to bag him. Imagine that life.
I don't understand anything anymore.
Man, open
It's
that
JMart and Ramon, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Guests appear on the program via the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We're set to be joined by Robert Mays here in a second. I think we just lost him. We're about to go to him, and then he dropped off.
Way to go.
Maybe he got somebody that called him. Oh, okay. I saw him on hold, I thought. Yeah, it's hard out there on these internet streets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that, man. That's why it's the internet. You see, by the way, Twitter has a premium pay.
Yeah, Twitter Blue or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nope. Hard pass.
It's been free and good for so long.
Last thing I want to do is pay people that work at Twitter for the garbage.
Don't you have
that
enough
they are.
ads? Like, that's not what we're doing, Chief. I'm not paying for that. It's been free and good for so long.
Yeah, like I don't. Whatever.
Yeah, we're over that.
I know you get the edit button or whatever it is. It's no.
Filter out everything that you have promo or ad on. That's what I'll do.
Saw LSU starting quarterback transfer portal.
Is he really?
Max Johnson.
Max is transferring?
Mhm.
You see, they also have supposedly picked up a big hire yesterday, too.
Yeah, they picked up a guy that was responsible for their recruiting for years.
A monster in recruiting.
That stepped away. He came back. That's a big-time win for Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
To get him back, even though no Marcus Freeman, no Reese, the offensive coordinator up there.
Yeah.
We were talking about Freeman earlier. The thing that's stunning to me is just, man, I've never really cared for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to see him do well. Because Marcus Freeman makes you sort of want to root for them.
Yeah. He looks like Notre Dame, too. He looks like Notre Dame also in the fact that, like, he's just well.
There's something. There's just something about it where it looks like a fit.
Yeah,
it does. It just looks like a fit.
It's a fit for him, man. And I know, of course, we follow some alumni, Mike Golick Jr. being one of those, and he's super excited about it. And just a lot of people just happy for him. I'm still just shocked a little bit because we were in the same recruiting class. You know what I'm saying? And this guy is making his way to be a head coach at 35, 36 years old. That is some cool stuff, man.
It is. Young guy, but I just have a feeling there. You never know. I have a sense he's going to do well.
Mm-hmm. I do too. And by the way, shout out to Derrick Henry too, the Walter Payton Man
of
the
the
Year
awesome.
nominee.
That's awesome. And former Titan Logan Ryan.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, of course, we know people that have intimate conversations with, him and around his works he do. He doesn't want any recognition. And for him to actually step out and say, hey, look at my works, and him to be nominated, man, that's real big time right there.
Derek, by the way, we're looking for your jersey, buddy. I've been looking for a Christmas gift.
If you want to donate again.
And I know they're not going to be available because of COVID. I talked to people at the pro shop yesterday. Help a brother out with the Color Rush Light Blue.
What's crazy is most time players can get a jersey. Hey, you can go to the equipment people. I need a jersey made. Or we had a guy in Pittsburgh, Marchinsky, like, hey, Chan, I need a jersey or two. I'm sure that's pretty much stopped now.
Yeah, there's nothing happening right now. You go to Fanatics and every other subsidiary of Fanatics, all 5,000 of them, you will find very few jerseys of anybody right now.
Straight up, yeah. It's like that, man.
I think we're ready now to go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Our pal Robert Mays of The Athletic. Robert, how are you?
What's up, Rob?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
We're doing good. So I actually want you to ask a question to Ramon because I was listening to you and Nate on Sunday night on the Athletic Football Show talking about Andrew Whitworth and asking about his value as an offensive lineman and his career and things like that. The topic that you brought up, I think because we have Ramon here, I actually want to hear Ramon's answer, but I want you to kind of bring up the topic if you would.
Well, we were kicking something around after I watched the broadcast, and they were talking about the fact that he was going to be 40 next week when the Monday night game kicked off. And I said, is what Andrew Whitworth is doing as impressive as what Tom Brady is doing?
You know what I would say?
As a 40-year-old left tackle.
You know what I would say? It's not being disrespectful. It's probably more impressive because it's this right here. When somebody asks an offensive lineman to do their job, they got to do their job every single play. They can get smacked every single play. The job of doing OL takes a whole lot. And I'm not minimizing what Tom does, but there's plays where Tom can just simply hand the ball off and not do anything else. Watch the play and get the next play. Playing O-line is one of those positions where you got to be locked in every single play. One misstep for you is the end of somebody's career for the most part. And the fact that you got to be physical every single play, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to be able to be mobile enough to get that job done. And he's playing the left side where he's seeing a lot of good rushers in that division, number one. I would say it's almost more impressive at 40 years old. And it's not a guy – this is the other part. This isn't a guy that's playing for 20 years, but he only started 8. He started in year 8. He's been playing since he got in the league. I couldn't imagine how many reps he has. I think Joe Thomas had the famous 10,000 snaps. Like, this guy Whitworth's got to be 15, 20,000 snaps. I think I was over 10 myself, and just thinking the amount of starts, the amount of games he hasn't missed also. And not only that, to go from Cincinnati getting, I think, 1 or 2 Pro Bowls, and now he was an all-pro Pro Bowl guy in a system in the Rams, barely giving up any sacks. Me personally, because of the physical aspect of playing offensive line, I think is more impressive.
Yeah, with Brady, you can win with your mind, right? At a certain point, your mental acumen is your biggest advantage at that position. And even if your physical skills start to dilute a little bit, there are other ways that you can function. As a left tackle, there's no hiding.
No.
There's no digging into a way to play the position where you can overcome your physical skills. Maybe there's a little bit of that. You get a sense for angles and you can plan for guys and all that stuff. But it's one of the most physically demanding positions on the entire field. So to be able to do that, not just do it, to be able to do it still at a high level where you're one of the best 6'8" left tackles in the league. If he was merely starting and functioning, it would be impressive. The fact that he's playing at a high level right now is absolutely ridiculous.
And Rob, this is the other part of it too. You know that teams scheme for the weak link. You know they're going to try to find, hey, this is our candy bar. He's lost a snap. And he's still playing really well. Of course, a guy give up 1 or 2 sacks here and there. But he's still starting, as you said, still playing at a high level. And the biggest part of it all is the physical aspect of what he's doing. We heard Roger Saffold talk about him like his training. He goes to Denver to run. Like, it's more of a grind. I know Tom's the GOAT. But to lay it on the line weekly at that position across any OL, I say the same thing for Peters too, Jason Peters.
Yeah, and Robert, didn't you compare him and Peters to each other? And you talked about how Peters is going to walk right into the Hall of Fame, but we're getting to the point where we need to start talking about Whitworth in a different category.
And that's kind of the comparison that we made, is that obviously Peters is first-team All-Decade left tackle. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no question about that. I feel like if you talk to people, their initial kind of knee-jerk reaction about Whitworth would be, oh, maybe he's a Hall of Famer. But in my mind, I am not a compiler person. Like, if you play running back until you're 38, like, to me, Adrian Peterson's touchdown on Sunday does not help his Hall of Fame case. Like, that's not how I see it. But it's different, and the conversation shifts when you start from being not only just somebody playing into their late 30s and 40s, but somebody who's playing at a high level into their late 30s and 40s. To me, that longevity does matter.
Not late 30s, Robert, but try to explain to me how Rob Gronkowski isn't just playing, isn't the third tight end coming in here and there, but is an absolute stud again in Tampa Bay.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's another one where if he had come back after that year off, I remember the conversation about him coming back after that year off. And I think that me and a lot of other people just looked at it and said, oh, this is a cute story. You know, he'll go play with Tom and he'll be a contributor on that offense. Because at that point, you know, they had Cam Brate, they had O.J. Howard, and I figured that Gronk would just be somebody who, I don't know, was a role player within what they did. And now, when you watch him play, I mean, he's still one of the best 3 or 4 tight ends in the entire league. I mean, there were a couple plays in that Atlanta game, or excuse me, who did they play last week? Atlanta, right? There were a couple plays in that Atlanta game last week, the touchdown he scored. he's in the slot, and he gets chipped hard by the linebacker to that side. I mean, Belichick style, like we were going to hit you in the chin and get you off this route type of approach. He does that and still somehow fights off the corner on the way across the field and then runs away from someone in space for a touchdown. And just the way he blocks and his effort as a blocker, I mean, it's one of those things where this is, in my opinion, the best tight end that's ever played. I mean, if you look at the numbers, he has the most yards per target of all time. I think he has 21 or 19 fewer touchdowns than Tony Gonzalez in half the games. And his legacy is done. It's secure. He is going to the Hall of Fame. And now at this point, he's just piling it on. I mean, this is just one of the greatest players ever at his position, running up the score on how great his career should be viewed. And watching that in real time is very fun.
Yeah, it is. So in that same sense, we're watching one guy that's still flying at on autopilot in his career. And the question that Jay and I talked about a little bit earlier is, well, where does Russ fit, Russell Wilson, as far as his plan in Seattle and what this year has meant for him? Was it meant to be doomed like this when they hired the new OC?
He's one that it's going to be very complicated. I feel like as we get towards the end of the season here, there are going to be a lot of postmortems or kind of forensic analysis of the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era and what the end looked like. If this is the end. And in a lot of ways, it seems like it should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got a coach in his 70s. You've got a quarterback who didn't even want to be around last year. And we might be getting to the end of the rope in terms of, all right, what can you get for him? How many first-round picks did you get for him in this moment? I was talking to a GM this week, and I just hypothetically, I said, all right, if you need a quarterback next offseason, Russell Wilson is available. Do you trade multiple first-round picks for Russell Wilson? He didn't even hesitate to say yes.
Oh.
So if you can still get that sort of value for him, maybe this is the time. And then I think if we get to the end, if we reach the finish line, now it's time for a look back. And it's how will you remember this era? And I almost feel like with Russell Wilson, you kind of have to chop it up into different eras, where the first 3, 4, 5 years of his career, that's the Legion of Boom era and the Marshawn Lynch let's run the ball era. I mean, this was a team that led the league or was right there with the Niners every single year in rushing percentage. Russ wasn't asked to do very much. That's just not what his role within that team was. And he's got a ring to show for it, but how should we contextualize what that means, I think, is a larger conversation. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for the last decade, but at the same time, the last 3 or 4 years, even if we can concede that he was a Hall of Fame level talent, their offense always sputtered at a certain point. Whether it was because they committed to this run-heavy approach in 2017. I was at the 2017, I think that was the year it was, the Cowboys-Seahawks playoff game in Dallas. I can't even describe to you how frustrating it was to watch that game, where you have this guy and you're just taking the wheels off the Ferrari because you are running the ball on like 65% of your plays. It was frustrating to watch.
Wow.
And then they transitioned to this wide open offense over the last couple of years, and that hasn't worked either. So it's just been sort of a frustrating stretch when their defense wasn't dominating. It just felt like the highs should have been a little bit higher in this kind of second act of Russell Wilson's career after Sherman and Cam Chancellor and all of those guys had moved on, and it was really his show in Seattle.
The second tier, Robert, of the NFC just makes me sad. So I'll ask you about the AFC. The Patriots and the Chiefs seem to be trending in the right direction. Outside of that, right now, the Titans are super banged up, but they put themselves in a position to matter. The Ravens are sputtering left and right. The Bills lost again on Monday. I don't know what you take from the weather. And then there's the Colts, who might not make the playoffs but could be dangerous. Who do you like outside of New England and Kansas City right now, if indeed you believe in those two teams?
I think the Bills are still there. If you look at that game, Josh Allen's ability to cut through the wind with some of those throws is absolutely insane. But catching the ball was still difficult in those scenarios. It's hard to track the ball. It's just hard to throw it. So you're looking at a team that's not built to play left-handed on offense. If they can't throw the ball, they're going to struggle. And unless we run into another crazy weather scenario late in the season, and that might happen. You're playing in New England, you're playing in Buffalo. It's January. maybe it is going to be cold again. But unless there's another really crazy wind game, I assume their passing game will be more relevant down the stretch than it was on Sunday. I think that speaks to their weaknesses and the fact that they're not nearly as well-rounded as a team like New England is. And you look at how good defensive coordinators in the league have gotten. Unless you can play left-handed, you're going to run into some issues. But I still believe in Buffalo. I think that their defense is still very good. So in different circumstances, I feel like they would be they almost won that game anyway. So when they play New England again in a couple weeks, I'll be curious to see how that looks. And I think the Colts are really good.
Yeah.
I just think they're really good. I mean, you look at what their team is like, and they do everything well at this point. Their defense, I think coming into last week, was 12th in defensive DVOA after some struggles earlier in the year. I feel like they've really kind of settled in on the back end, which has helped them a lot. I talked to somebody there last week just about how consciously they try to introduce new coverages every year, and how if you're static on the back end when you're playing all that zone, teams are just going to carve you up. And I think that can take a little while. And you saw that early in the season. Some of those things they were trying to do, the Rams game and the Seahawks game stick out to me specifically, where you have a couple bad busts on some funky coverages. That's not happening as much anymore. And you look at what they are on offense, Frank Reich is a wizard, man. I mean, to watch what Carson Wentz was like last season, and then to see him piloting a top 10 offense. I know that it's Jonathan Taylor and it's the offensive line, but that's the point, is that they have built this complementary system around whatever quarterback they put in there. And you have a coach and a play caller that, to me, he's on the top level. I mean, I don't know how you want to stack them up and what the actual pecking order looks like, but you can throw, in my opinion, Frank Reich right in with the Andy Reids, the Sean Paytons, the Kyle Shanahans, whoever we deem the best offensive play callers in football. And when you combine that with a pretty well-rounded roster, I still think the Colts' best year is next year. I thought that coming into the season, they're going to have some resources. I think some of the conservative nature of the way they built this team in the spring was driven by the fact that Chris Ballard didn't know what he had in Carson Wentz. Now, he knows what it is. It's a known quantity, and they know they can win with him at the very least. So what are the couple final things you need to finish this off? Is it a corner? Is it another pass catcher of some kind, even if you believe Pittman is your number one guy? But even in this stage, because of how diluted and muddy the AFC is, I still think they can beat anybody at any time, and I just didn't think that would be the case.
So stay in the division then. What do you think of Tennessee, as hard as it is to evaluate due to the health concerns?
I just think that there's no way to do it. There's no way to evaluate it. There's no way to get a sense of it. It really is difficult when you see a team cut off at the knees like this because of injuries. It's never fun. I mean, you really – I had a lot of respect for their ability to kind of keep this thing rolling a little bit on offense and the way that they had understood, like, this is our formula, and we can tweak it in some ways, and maybe it's a few more 3 wide receiver sets. Maybe it's a few more of this. Maybe it's a few more of that. And they were still playing well on offense. But when you take out all of these pieces, man, it doesn't matter how much ingenuity you have or how much faith you have in the offensive line. When you're playing with, I don't know, something Hollister and Westbrook Akina and your 4th running back, it's very, very hard to sustain success in the NFL. So even if they do win the division and take advantage of that 2-game lead, it's just hard to imagine them sticking with the best teams in the league down the stretch. Maybe they get A.J. Brown back. Maybe somehow they figure it out. But I just think that this season has been lost to no fault of their own.
Real quick on the way out, if you saw it, the Kenny Pickett half slide, you a fan of it? Should have been hit? Should have been a penalty, or just stop the play?
I think that it warrants a conversation. I don't mind him doing it. I mean, if there are loopholes in the rules and there are areas where you can gain an advantage, I think that's your job in order to gain an advantage. We have gotten to a place where it's really, really hard to play defense. It's really, really hard to ask these guys to play hard and to stop people, but be able to kind of turn it off at a moment's notice. So I think the moment you go toward the ground in that way, it should probably kill the play. Like that start of the movement, even if I don't know how you wanted to phrase it, I don't know the exact rules, but I think the moment that you start to dip your motion like that in the open field, the play should stop.
Yeah.
because I do think that it puts the defense at a bad advantage or at a disadvantage. I have no problem with him doing it though, because that rule doesn't exist.
Wow.
Great stuff, Robert, brother.
Yeah.
We appreciate you as always.
Absolutely, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Indeed. That's Robert Mays. Good stuff. I wanted him to ask that Whitworth question because I sat there and listened to their discussion about it, and it was such an interesting thought because we were talking about beginning of the year, and we were looking at offensive line and stuff. You're like, Whitworth's still out there doing it, man. But he's 40. It's like, so what's he going to do? And the reason why they got into this topic is because he's one of the best and most efficient left tackles in the league at 40, still just making plays he has no business making.
No.
At his age. And I was just like, well, we got an offensive lineman. I could ask this question. We could bring it up as a topic. Or I could have Robert pose it to you and then just sit here and listen to you.
And here I am. How many career starts I had? Over 150. I think he's got to be pushing 200 or more. Like that's a lot of Jay. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of wear. That's a lot of. Somebody asked me, and I'm sure this year I probably could have gotten on the team because O-line play is kind of down. You could have. It's there, but
I agree with you.
I told him, I was just like, man, look, it's the recovery, it's the physical aspect of going and doing it again. I was like, I don't want that. And so for Whitworth to still be doing it when I know he gets hit every single play and his recovery's a little bit longer than it was 10 years ago, that's a hard ask. And
that's a team that wants to run the ball a lot and has had quarterback trouble, so you got to protect them to allow the receivers to get free downfield. Kittle's been out, so they haven't had quick strike offense when Debo hadn't been in there.
Here's his stat right here. 200 this was last year. 224 games played, 220 starts.
That's crazy.
You can be in a lot of games.
That's
but
crazy. Man.
You starting. Ugh. He'll be all right.
Yeah. I think he will. We'll come back and do birthdays. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Whew. $54. We're nearing the end of 2021, and it has been a year. And I'm sure most of you have experienced with the struggle of the supply chains due to COVID. Co-host Jason has, I have, you have, we have, everybody has. These days, it's just not easy to get the things that you want. But my friends at Two Rivers Ford have some great news for you. New inventory is coming in every single day. So if you're in the market for a new Ford, make sure you check out tworiversford.com daily and see what's arrived on a lot. If you want somebody at Two Rivers Ford to contact you when the vehicle you're looking for comes in, just give them a shout and they'll make sure you are alerted. The salespeople at Two Rivers Ford, they don't work on commission, so you never have to worry about them pressuring you. It's one of the hardest things that you have to deal with, that anxiety of thinking somebody's going to force you into a situation. No, not at Two Rivers Ford. Also, if you know exactly what vehicle you're looking for and you want to order it, Two Rivers Ford can do that for you too. They now have a Built For You program where you can order any model, any color with any available feature. You can order that Ford today and get it delivered directly to your door when it is manufactured. There's a reason why my friends at Two Rivers Ford have been doing business for almost 40 years, and that's because they make you, the customer experience, hassle-free, honest, and easy. So, for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealer in Tennessee, my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
JMart and Ramon 104.5 is on. Our thanks to Robert Mays. Great stuff with him. If you missed it, podcast is wherever you get your podcast. JMart and Ramon is what you want to look up. 5 stars is a review that you want to leave.
Yeah.
Helps us grow, helps our advertisers, helps everything surrounding the JMart and Ramon experience. If you're hanging out on Zone TV, we certainly appreciate that as well. We'll get to a couple of quick birthdays here today. Terry Hatcher, 57, Moan.
Terry Hatcher was in Iron Man.
No.
No, Terry Hatcher. Friday Night Lights.
No. Connie Britton.
Connie Britton.
Mhm.
Who was that?
She was in Friday Night Lights.
Oh.
Adrian Palicki, Mika Kelly.
I don't know. Who is that? Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher was in Lois and Clark.
Lois.
Lois. She was also in Desperate Housewives.
Ah, golly. Well, I was.
And they were real and
they.
they were spectacular.
Oh,
She was
yeah?
the subject of that on the Seinfeld episode.
Ah.
Wendell Pierce, Moan, 58.
Was that on Remember the Titans?
No.
No. Don't be a menace in South Central while drinking your juice.
No.
Friday.
You're going to be real sad when you don't know this.
Wendell Pierce. The Help.
No, but that's not a bad guess. Wendell
The-
Pierce
The
played
Wire.
Bonk on the Wire. He was in Treme,
God, that was
Suits. It was Meghan Markle's dad
Yeah.
on Suits.
God. I knew that name too. I saw it every time it ran the credits.
Big sports fan, big New Orleans
Yeah.
guy, big Saints fan,
Yep.
really
He,
talented actor, activist.
Played in a bunch of like lawyer movies, crime movies too.
He's done a
He's
lot.
done a few. Yeah, he has.
Kim Basinger, 68.
Kim Basinger.
I can't believe she's 68.
Pussycat Dolls.
No.
No. Oh,
She's 68, Mo. That was like Christina Applegate.
I know. Oh yeah, she's actually older too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not 68, though.
Golden Girls.
She'd be 98 if she was a Golden Girl.
There's no way she's 68.
She's 68.
What was she in, Andrew?
L.A. Confidential.
Did not watch LA.
Getaway. She was Vicky Vale in the original Batman 1989 film with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Wow.
She's done a lot. She was kind of one of the it girls. It was like she
had an era.
It was Cindy Crawford and Kim Basinger, like all of around the same kind of time. It was Kim Basinger and Sharon Stone, and
Auntie Aaron said Mermaid.
she might have been in that. Yeah,
Maybe
probably was.
Yeah. Huh. 68.
I thought maybe that name. She used to be married to. Was it Bruce Willis?
Was it Bruce Willis? How many people has he been married to?
He's been married quite a few times.
Alec Baldwin. I'm sorry.
Alec Baldwin. Ooh, jeez. Hope he's
He was
gonna be all right.
not things aren't great for him right now.
Did he actually pull the trigger?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done that interview. I can tell you.
No, we shouldn't have.
I think she dated Eminem.
What? At 68?
Not at 68, but I think I've read
She was
somewhere
she was an 8 Mile. She was the mom
was
in
in
8 Mile.
Yeah.
He dated his. Ugh.
Yeah, she was a mom in 8 Mile. I forgot about that.
Was she? Andrew, you've been holding on to that answer for so long.
I forgot
go.
about that one.
And he dated.
I'm
Wow.
double checking. I'm not positive.
Way to go, Eminem.
Man, she would have been in her.
Yeah,
Mid to
reported
late
to be
50s.
romantically linked with co-star Eminem, 8 Mile. He denied it in 2002, so they did it. Fourth hour of the show is up next. Rhett Bryan will pop into the studio on Scout Meeting Wednesday. It's JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning, I'm Will Bowling. It was a night to forget for Rick Barnes in Tennessee basketball last night in New York City. Tennessee falls 57-52 to Texas Tech. They shot 6 for 40 from the three-point line, missing 19 of 21 from long distance in the second half and making just 8 of 16 attempts from the free throw line. Tennessee falls to 6-2 with the overtime loss, making just 19 of their 71 shots from the field. They got 10 points and 8 rebounds from John Fulkerson to lead the way in the Jimmy V Classic in Madison Square Garden. Roman Josi and the Nashville Predators secured a 5-2 win last night in Detroit over the Red Wings. Josi, who scored against 4 Detroit defenders for a first-period goal, added with a Ryan Johansson power play goal, led the Preds to a win that snapped Detroit's season-high 5-game winning streak and 5-game home winning streak as well. And the Titans on Tuesday activated safety Kevin Byard from the team's reserve COVID-19 list. Byard was placed on the list at the start of the bye week. In 12 games this season, he has 5 interceptions and a forced fumble. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? 4th hour hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you and it's upon us. And we're blessed to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors right here in Nashville. When trust matters, you can count on our guys. AllFourSeasonsGarages.com. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. Ben Roethlisberger counted on him for over a decade and could use him right now. He could also use an arm.
That's where we're going.
And a few dubs.
And a few dubs.
Jonathan Schaefer is doing his civic duty. Made us very happy that he sent us a text yesterday saying multiple district attorneys had come up to him and said we were clowning him on the radio.
That's the power of JMart and Ramon on 104.5 The Zone.
Come on. Really loafing is what he's doing.
JMart, Ramon, and Malone. Andrew Malone in for Jonathan Schaefer. Even rhyme. Sounds better than Schaefer.
I like the sound of it. Shafe sounds like a screech on a record. You know
In short, Shafe, you're not missed.
Yeah, it sounds like you better get back from jury duty there, big guy.
Yeah, that's Rep Brian at Rep B, Tennessee, of course. The man that brought Zero Sugar Cherry to me.
Yeah.
Cherry Coke
Yesterday.
Zero. I enjoy it too. I love that. And I heard you were talking about it last week with the supply chain issues and that because of an aluminum deal shortage that,
Can't find the cans.
Soft drink makers are shutting down some of their ancillary lines, which there are guys like you and I who like, whoa, wait.
I don't know that you need to slight Coke Zero Sugar Cherry by calling it
an
an
ancillary
ancillary line.
Well, let me say this before you pounce on me. I have a feeling they sell more just regular Coca-Cola and Diet Coke products
doubt.
than they ever do in the others. And I speak in reverence when I say that because, I like the product. And you know who else is a Cherry Coke Zero Sugar guy? Mike Keith. Big time.
Mike Keith here.
Oh, that's his that's his go-to. He loves that.
So what you're saying is right. Yeah, they sell more of the regular because there's a lot of people that aren't smart, right?
Yep. Like everybody to get on that train.
There's a lot of Coke products that don't sell that are ancillary. I just think Cherry Coke and the equivalent of Diet Cherry Coke, those should make the cut.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can get rid of like the 6 other flavors of Diet Coke that no one bought.
The Diet Coke with lime.
Yeah, whatever. Like you can get rid of the Diet Coke with like blood orange in it and whatever. But
remember when the Diet Coke with lime came out? They had that campaign and they were using the old Harry Nielsen song. Put the lime in the coconut.
Yeah, and then you drank it and you were like, take the lime out the Coca-Cola because this tastes like trash.
The lime and the the aspartame don't go together.
No, with the ass and aspartame.
Hey now. Hey, I got to tell you guys, first of all, thanks to everyone listening to 104.5 The Zone.
Good.
You guys were our heroes once again with Toy Field yesterday, a huge success. The Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels are not forgotten thanks to all your generosity and kind gestures. It was really cool to see that thing. I got over there. I went over to see you guys yesterday and delivered your cherry Coke Zero Sugar. And then I went back and did some call-ins because obviously 3HL was at Buffalo Wild Wings. They were collecting toys there. But from 4 to 5:30, there was a good trickle in of little waves of toys, people, obviously getting off work and making their donations. And it was great. And the Toy Field got filled. The Salvation Army gentleman that runs this chapter was so grateful. He said basically the cupboard was bare. They were getting very, very low on toys. He said his wife nudged him Sunday night and said, hey, we got to do something. We're extremely low on gifts and toys. And he goes, hey, we got Toy Field on Tuesday. I'm pretty sure they're going to deliver again. And he said, you guys have delivered again. So now that's just part of the story. So at 5:30, they had those big, giant rolling bins, almost like a pallet size thing for large donations. Where these companies, these great companies that came by all day and unloaded where they'd been collecting at their offices or whatever. And I see this bin of toys come in, and I asked one of the Salvation Army guys, I said, hey, do you want me to go ahead and start? And he goes, no, don't unload these. The family wants to. And I was like, this is one family has this? And then another one came in full and pushing that one with his wife and 2 children, Jim Nance, the great Jim Nance. Hello, Jim friends. Nance. And so they had their moment, and they distributed and put the toys down on the field, and gosh, super, super generous. And they wanted to, teach their children. And what a great lesson. We took a great family photo of all of them, and I said, thank you. You really, really have made a huge difference. This is awesome. He couldn't be any nicer. And he actually said, I have moved here. And he said, I listen to 104.5 The Zone when I'm not working. He said, I have the app.
Which is just fantastic.
That's big time.
And I talked about Titans Radio and 2 things. He said, Coach Mack, Mike Keith, he said, those guys are so good. He goes, you guys do a great job. And he said, all right, and tell me who's coming off IR. Because his young son is a huge Titans fan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is fantastic. But what a huge surprise that was right at the end of the day from someone I wouldn't even think about it. And I'm like, I just saw you in Kansas City the other night, didn't I?
And clearly, I mentioned this to you right before we came back on, clearly it's not like he was like, I want everybody to know Jim Nance is here.
No.
He very clearly was doing the exact opposite.
It was at the end when he figured there wouldn't be any pomp and circumstance, and we respectfully gave him his space. Charlie Cook, our operations manager, he and I were standing there because he was doing his part for the country stations. And I was like, Charlie, do you see who this is coming in? I'm like, this is Jim Nance. This is really cool. And he took a picture of me and Jim Nance that I posted last night on Twitter. But super, super nice guy, super generous guy, and just welcome to Middle Tennessee. That's what I told him. It's fantastic. But, again, Toy Field, huge. Thanks to everybody who brought it out. It's really, really great, and it's going to make a lot of differences in a lot of little small lives, and the seniors, too, all of Forgotten Angels.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing the photo at the end of the day is always one of my favorite things to see all year because it was filled. I mean, the field was filled completely with toys, and you just think about what that's going to mean to people in a couple of weeks, and it's all because of you. It's all because of the listeners out there stepping up, and the companies certainly that are part of this. And look, just private people like Jim Nance that just showed up and
he said his neighbor, and I recognize his neighbor who comes annually and donates very handsomely. And he said, I'd never been this late in the day. He said, it's amazing you guys are filling the field up. But he said, he's my neighbor and he brought me down here and we thought it'd be a great idea. And just thanks for letting us be a part of it. I'm like, well, gosh, thank you for your generosity. Yeah. I mean, good grief. But the spirit of giving and the volunteer state essence, it still comes through every time people step up to the pump. You guys are huge out there, and you've made a huge difference in a lot of people for this holiday season.
The bonus of what we just did over the last 10 minutes or so is that we dodged talking too much about the Jaguars.
We can dive into that. There's not a lot of meat on that bone, but yeah.
So we'll talk about the Jags, and maybe we'll just talk more about the AFC and where the Titans find themselves coming off the bye when we come back with Rhett Bryan. It is JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Baker Birdwell is the disability brokerage that your financial advisors count on to deliver disability income protection, one of the least known about insurance coverage. If I asked you, what is your most valuable asset? Most of the time, you're going to tell me it's your home. Think again, it's your income. Without that income, you can't supply that house or the car or the groceries for your family. As a former pro athlete, it wasn't thought about insuring my income or my career, but the same probably applies for you. Have you considered what would happen if you couldn't continue your career due to health or an injury? For 2 or 3% of your income, you can insure up to 6% of your income tax-free. You know about the short-term and long-term group disability plans that your employer may provide for you. But with them paying the premium for you, the benefits you get paid are paid out are taxable. Because you live off 40% of your income and still provide for you and your family, because after taxes, that's about what you're going to get with your group disability plan. Disability insurance is one of the most undersold, underutilized, but most needed products. Baker Birdwell is the best resource for financial advisors and insurance agents. They are a trusted friend working with your trusted advisor, and to be sure that you're properly insured. They are local, number one, and want to see their community be protected. Have your financial advisor or insurance agent call Baker Birdwell and talk through the many ways to get insured, or compare your current plan to make sure it's up to date. The laws change all the time. And we know this too this past year. Bad things, they do happen to good people. We just want to implore to everybody how important it is to insure your income. Go see Baker Birdwell. You can contact them at 615-309-5958 or visit their website at bakerbirdwell.com, or even email them at info@bakerbirdwell.com.
Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Ramon Foster played 11 years in the NFL. Played for the Vols, never entered the transfer portal. Jonathan Schaefer entered the transfer portal. That's why he's not here. Rhett Bryan at Titans Radio is here. That was his guffaw in the background. I'm Jason Martin at JMart and Ramon, at Ramon Foster, at JMart Radio, at Red B Tennessee, at Titans Radio. Andrew Malone is in for Schaefer. So get right game, Rhett. The Rams needed a game to kind of start feeling better about themselves. And guess who was on the docket Sunday?
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's always a helpful thing for most teams. 37-7.
Yep.
Odell's out here making plays. Stafford's making plays.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp is doing what Cooper Kupp does, which is preposterous things. Defense is doing its thing. And now, after the bye week, Tennessee, who watched Buffalo lose on Monday, the Bengals again find a way when you start to feel good about them to get boat raced again and get knocked back out. The Ravens, who just don't look right at all right now, who are suffering with a lot of injuries of their own.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts, who may have put themselves too far behind the 8 ball but are playing about as well as anybody in the AFC right now.
I wouldn't want to play them again.
Exactly. And you may not have to because the schedule down the stretch for them, I don't know that they can get there, Rhett.
And you've got to take care of your own business, which is,
Correct.
4 out of these last 5 for the Titans are AFC opponents. I don't care what they do against the 49ers.
Yeah.
I feel like you need 3 of those 5 wins, and all AFC preferably. So you need Jacksonville, you need Houston, and then I'll take one of the other 2. And one of the other 2 doesn't look easy anymore.
Miami's definitely going to be a tough ball
Started
game.
out 1-7. They reeled off 5 in a row.
Jeez.
And then Pittsburgh whispers he's going to the house, and they've got a little life because that was a great game the other night. We watched them take down the Ratbirds after they.
That was a horrible game.
You
said that was a great game. It might have been a great result, but my gosh, that was a horrible game.
I like games like that. I've seen too many
too.
Titans games like that against the Ravens.
My emotions were so high at home just because you knew they could beat them.
Oh yeah, you were on fire on Twitter. I mean, he was lighting it, kicking tires, lighting fires, man. I love it. I love salty Ramon. But yeah, Jacksonville's lost 4 in a row. The Titans have lost 2 in a row, so somebody's got to win one out of this. And your hope is that it's the Titans in this thing. And talking to Frank Frangie, their longtime play-by-play man, really nice guy. They don't have the weapons around Trevor Lawrence. They got 2 problems. James Robinson clearly don't know what's going to happen when Travis Etienne comes back from his injury next year, but James Robinson is going to be a perennial 1,000-yard back. He's really good, but he's banged up.
And he's mad.
Ankle, heel, knee, he's got all kinds of stuff. In fact, he went in for a few plays last week in that loss to the Rams, re-injured some things. Frank Frangie told us Monday he didn't even know if he's going to play Sunday or not. If he doesn't, that's huge because Carlos Hyde is the backup. And I'm not saying, Carlos Hyde is chopped liver here, but in the pecking order of rushing, it's James Robinson was 678 yards rushing, 4.9 a carry, 7 rushing touchdowns. Carlos Hyde, 251 and a score. Trevor Lawrence, 241 and 2 scores. So he's actually doing a little better than the backup in this thing. But the other thing that Frank Frangie said is they don't have any weapons. DJ Chark went down with injury. That was their best receiver. Laviska Shenault, yes, you can do all kinds of things with him, but he's not necessarily just a roll out there every.
He's more of a gadget guy.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he was at Colorado. Mm-hmm. But, and Marvin Jones is serviceable, but they just, they brought Dan Arnold over in a trade from Carolina, the tight end, just right before, about 10 days before the Titans played them in Jacksonville in week 5. In fact, he was the leading receiver in that game that the Titans won down there. He's on injured reserve. He's out for the year. So they're banged up in some places in this, and they just can't score the points. They haven't scored they haven't hit a 24-point mark in a total score all year long. They only have 20 touchdowns as an offense.
Yeah, that's bad.
So the thing is you've got to do exactly what you did to them in week 5 and what the Titans have been really good at until they hit some strides here in this last part of the season currently is forcing turnovers. You've got to force turnovers from them and get that score separated, as Coach Mack says. Excuse me. And then just keep trucking. That's what you got to do because they can't catch up to you.
No.
Trevor can't do it by himself. So you need to get them down early and keep your foot on the gas. And that's exactly what's happened to him, to them in general. I mean, you look at 37-7 against the Rams last week.
Yeah, it's low hanging with this group, man. And I'll go through defensively real quick too, as you knocked out some of the offense too, Red. But defensively, they ranked 23rd overall in this league, 21st in the run, giving up in the rush game, and 19 in the pass. They're giving up almost 27 points a game. That's an NFL defense. Okay, they're giving up 116.8 yards per game on the ground and 248.3 through the air. This is the part where most teams, if they're bad or they're going to crash out, is right here. Giving up 40.9% on third down. Can't do that. They can't get off the field. Rashawn Jenkins is their leading tackler with 53 on the year so far. And Miles Jack is another solid player on that team too at linebacker. They have Josh Allen, that's the highest sack getter at 5.5. He got player of the week against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills that week. Y'all remember that? He got it over Harold, I think, that week. Harold had a monster week, but they beat the Bills, which was unprecedented at the time. And he also had a pick, a sack, and
like a forced fumble
touchdown.
recovery.
Yeah,
It was
quadruple sack,
Yeah.
forced fumble
Hit for the
recovery,
side.
recover for
Interception.
touchdown.
It was Josh
Yeah.
Allen on Josh Allen crime.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me see. Dwayne Smoot is another solid player. I didn't mention him last time he played, but he's good. He's got 4 sacks on the year. Not a whole lot of production out of their D-line or just this team in general. They are not good. As a team, they got 20 sacks on the year so far. That, again, means they can't get after the quarterback. Don't mean they won't pressure you, but it's not a lot. And, again, Shaquille Griffin on the back end is coming off of a concussion too. He can make plays. They got the attitude. They don't have
the personnel.
it's just
They just
bad.
don't. And like I said, I think the huge part in all this, if James Robinson doesn't play, that is huge
Yeah, it is.
for the Titans.
Because he's played well against them.
They rushed for almost 200 yards on the ground in that game they won in Week 5 in Jacksonville, and he had a good chunk of it. He had 140 some odd yards. But here's a couple other numbers that stand out to me, Ramon.
Yeah.
5.76 yards per play they're giving up to the opposing offense. That's 25th in the league. Passing nearly 8 yards a play. That's 29th in the league. So you can move the chains on them. The question is who do you have to move, if you're the Titans? Do you get Julio back this week? Do you have Golden Tate come out for his first trot in the two-tone blue uniform?
Yeah.
Do you have Nick Westbrook-Akina make some more play? Do we see Anthony Ferkser take a step forward in an off year for him? So, you're going to need to make the plays. You've got to be able to, it's clear you can see they give them up, but you got to have the personnel to be able to do it. And so, that's why I'm very interested to see what the injury report looks like at 3:00 today for both teams, but especially for the Titans in this because, you got several guys in concussion protocol. Hopefully you're going to get Nate Davis back at right guard. You're going to get David Long and Rashawn Evans back. It's my hope you get some of those things working in your favor because with the schedule, the way it is, and that, you can set yourself up for a pretty good stretch run.
Yeah.
And then Tannehill, just got to start seeing the signs of life.
Yeah.
From the passing side of the I know they haven't had guys. But you just and I feel like the fan base has been fair to Tannehill and haven't really killed him as much as
But I think they
uneducated types would.
I think they realize, Jason, that it's not all his fault.
And it
yes,
shouldn't
there are some decisions and throws he'd like to have back, I'm sure. But it's not all that. It's not all the offensive line. It's not all just the offense in general. It's not just the lack of personnel because of injuries. It's a combination of all those things and probably then some on top of that. And you're right. You hit on one of the 3 things that I think the Titans have got to do to be able to stack more wins, improve their seeding process in the playoffs, and host a home playoff game and win the division for a second consecutive year. And that is stop the turnovers, or at least limit them, and then create some of your own and capitalize off of those. And then the second thing is you have to have more explosive plays out of your offense. They've been missing that ever since Derrick Henry went out with injury, and we know that effect he has on the play-action pass. And then the last one is the most obvious one, that you just need personnel to come back healthy. You've got to have some extra guys come out here and help you. You do those 3 things, you're going to win a bunch of these 5 remaining games, I believe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So for the Titans on the other side of the ball too, Rat, there's opportunity this week with the Jags. Harold Landry's hit the double digit. Check that off. Double digit sacks. Woo. Check that off. Great year to do that too. From him, because if you want to be great, you got to continue to keep your foot on the gas, or as I like to say, keep your foot on their neck. What do you kind of expect from him in this last stretch right now, man? Because he's done his job. The last couple of weeks has still been okay, trying to figure out where the slide is. And I'm not saying he's sliding, but everybody wants to be the guy, right? You feel like he has to continue to push that envelope when it comes to his production.
Well, I think he'll absolutely do that. His motor is great.
It's
I mean,
good.
he's on all the time, and I think it's somewhat dependent on Danico Autry,
Okay.
and Jeffrey Simmons and how they help him up front to help create some things. But the great thing about Harold Landry, not only has he played a million snaps and done it well, he's had to try to figure out that thing by himself for a while.
That's true.
Because his first year was the last year for Brian Arakpo, Derek Morgan, and I think they had 2.5 sacks between the two of them as they were getting towards the end of their careers.
Yeah.
And then they've been looking for this pattern. And of course, Bud with his coming back from injuries and those things. So he's got experience there trying to pilot himself. So this is where I would expect Harold Landry to continue to pin his ears back and do what he's been doing, because he's had to do it trial by fire, kind of not having someone, a stud opposite him to help, so he can reap some of the benefits.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was just, one side that's got to help this, injured offense has to be this defensive side of the ball for the Titans. And those guys that started off real hot, minus, the people who are out right now, they got to continue to do that. You get Byard back off the COVID list this week.
That's good. You didn't miss anything with him. No time, all that.
I think Tierre had the groin situation and just trying to figure
Need Tierre Tart back.
Need that back. And again, this stretch of this rest of the season is kind of set up to start getting a guy back one at a time, managing who's doing what and how. Biggest challenge for this team moving forward would be what, in your opinion? Finding the rhythm again?
I mean, that's part of it, because you've had so many guys out. And I think that's, and certainly on the offense and defense.
Yeah.
I think, you certainly need that. And that's why Coach Vrabel immediately had them back in that building on Monday trying to take their temperature on that. Making sure that, and he wasn't completely pleased with where they were, but he knows it's a work in progress. But, he knows he's got to get those guys back on track. And, I think that would be one of the most important things is trying to make sure everybody is, they've been so banged up. He's been doing walkthroughs a lot. They hadn't had a chance to do a padded walk-in wounded, MASH unit, whatever you want to call them. And so, they need to get some guys back and have good, solid practice sessions so that they can get out there and do it right on Sunday.
Yeah, no question about it. So what team do you expect to see on Sunday with the bye week, with Vrabel's mentality, with the way that they are treating this day to day? We don't know who's going to be available exactly. We're going to figure that out.
Yep, that's right.
But the team that you anticipate seeing against Jacksonville on Sunday, what's your feeling midweek right now?
I think the Titans come out and get this done, and maybe in overwhelming fashion. Mike Vrabel in his young tenure as head coach of the Titans is 3-0 after a bye week. I expect him to be 4-0.
Good.
I do. And he will have these guys ready, whoever's out there.
A nice reset.
And it is. It's time for a reset. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy against Jacksonville, whether you have James Robinson or not. We see it every week. Guys, look at the AFC picture. Mm-hmm. Every team has 4 losses or more. That's why all of this is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And, I expect him to be redialed in and ready to go. And I think you'll see it from number 17. I think you'll see it from Ryan Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's had a chance to decompress and unplug a little bit and come back. And he knows he's got to do better. He knows he does. He said it publicly. And I anticipate that would be the case.
With that being said, also of Ryan Tannehill, is that pretty much basically it will be 2 weeks before this game comes on this Sunday. Golden Tate, you see him being elevated this Friday, Saturday to potentially get some reps on Sunday.
We'll see what happens today, tomorrow, and Friday.
Yeah,
because I know that prior to the New England game, he was still absorbing the playbook, learning the jargon, the whole thing. I would think that he would have a chance for sure, just knowing that he's got a couple of weeks under his belt in this thing. And he's, he's an 11-year vet. He's smart. It's learning the language, learning the basic playbook part of it, learning whatever the terminology is here. Because you know better than anybody, it's variations of a lot of the same kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Also, it's interesting. The fact that the Jags' leading tackler is Rashawn Jenkins, he's a free safety, which means, to your point about the yards per carry, yards through the air.
Into the first two levels.
First two
levels are not getting a stop.
That's got to be a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Now, most of the time, the linebackers are the lead tacklers on the team.
Sure.
You might have a safety here or there, but that safety's probably all pro, like Kevin Byard, that's always around. When you got a safety that's making tackles red.
Well, to your point, I mean, we saw this Titans defense a year ago. Nearly 51% they gave up on third down. They are currently at 38%.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dramatic improvement.
Dramatic. And you need that.
But yeah, you can make explosive plays. You can make shot plays on these guys. You need the execution. You need it to be crisp. You need to, the receivers to run the routes, to get open, catch the ball. You need them to block when they need to block. And, I feel like you can run it on them. You read the stats, and you've got two backs who's shown they can do it.
That's what I was going to ask you
Got
next.
270 yards as a team in a loss to the Patriots, and of course we talked about the turnovers part of it, but they can run the ball.
Even if whatever New England's game plan was against the Titans, you got to think over 200 yards, 100-yard rushers.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get off the bus ready to go. Like we've seen it now. Now you can't take it back.
That's why I expect the physicality.
Yeah.
I expect to see Ben Jones doing what he does, and those guys on his left and his right creating knockback and creating lanes and getting chunk yards in this thing. Because, listen, Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hill, Deontay Foreman especially, he's mad because, he had that fumble after a long explosive play. And they all want to do better, but I expect to see a little extra spark this time coming out of the gate. Again, little fresher. Finally got some rest. Finally got some R&R, and hopefully some treatment to tape it up and go.
By the way, can I give a congratulatory to the Mr. Footballs yesterday? It's presented by the Tennessee Titans.
Awesome.
By the way, it's moved over. That's really good. But Khalid Ganaway of Peabody, he won. Ty Simpson of Westview. Caden Buckles of Alcoa, Barry and Brown, Pearl Cone, Deshaun Bishop, Carnes, Destin Wade, Summit, Steel Haynes, USJ, Alexander Broom, Lipscomb Academy, Dallin Hayden of Christian Brothers, and Justin Chadwick, Kicker of the Year. Congratulations to those guys. Probably see some of them on Sundays, Rhett. You just never know, man.
Dallin Hayden, son of VFL, Aaron Hayden. Yeah, a lot of great young men. That was a great ceremony they had yesterday at Nissan Stadium. I watched the whole thing online at TennesseeTitans.com. It was really neat. It's a great thing the Titans do, and it's a great way to recognize high school football. And John Robinson handing out the awards. He is immersed. He loves that. He and Mike Vrabel both, because he knows that's where it all begins.
And especially what this talent is in the state now.
Oh, my gosh.
I've heard coaches or scouting departments, that ESPN 300, they track it. And most of the time, if you're in that 300, you're usually getting drafted or you make it to the next level. And there's a few of these kids on this list that won Mr. Football. They're probably going to be scouting one day or drafting.
Well, and Bernard Childress, the man who runs the TSSAA, he started with his opening statement. He goes, hey, it's a long-standing tradition, and the Titans have been involved in it for a long time, and there are many names that you see on these banners they had displayed over there in the club section that have gone on to have great collegiate careers, and there's several who had good pro careers.
Appreciate you, Rhett.
Looking at one.
Gentlemen.
Broadcast begins with Buck.
Yep, 9 o'clock, and then Mickey and Blaine and Dyson at 10, and then us at 11, kickoff at noon with Mike and Mac, and here we go.
Right back at it.
Let's go.
Indeed. We'll be back. We got ink. We'll get you a midweek motivation on the other side of this break, and we'll polish off another edition of JMart and Ramon here, 104.5 The Zone. JMart and Ramon 104.5 is down finishing up. Hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio on this Wednesday. Tomorrow on the program, Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, Brad Crawford, our pal from 24/7 Sports. He ranked all the bowl games. He's got Music City Bowl right around like 12th, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Mack will be here tomorrow as well as we get closer and closer to the last 5 games of the regular season for the Tennessee Titans. And we're going to look at the injury report today. And we're going to look at it tomorrow. And we're going to look at it Friday. And we're going to see what happens over the weekend.
Oh, what about transactions?
Always got to look at Terrence. Man, John Simon. Can we talk about John Simon?
God,
It's just not an easy life, is it?
it ain't.
At this point in time in John Simon's career, he goes from practice squad to wave to active to wave to practice squad to active to practice squad to waived to practice squad to waived
to re-signed.
to re-signed to waived.
He's got to have one of the most transactions.
There have been times where he's been signed where he hasn't actually shown in Nashville, where he's like, I'm just going to stay out here because I know.
It's just sleeping in the parking lot at this point.
He's got a cardboard sign outside the Titans facility.
There you go. I salute people that do that. It's maybe because I completed the task already, but I don't know if I would go that far.
How far?
Cardboard outside of a building. It's very popular to do now.
Is it?
It happens more and more with social media. Everybody got a voice. I salute the people that chase their dreams. I'm just different in that aspect. I don't know if I could ever do that. Chase your dreams, though, man.
Never let somebody tell you can't do it.
For real, that's
until
motivation.
they do tell you can't.
Realize there's a better calling sometimes.
So sometimes you just have to step away, right?
A step away, for sure.
But like the Titans transaction list is always hilarious.
Oh, no doubt.
Texans are releasing Zach Cunningham. This just happened a minute ago.
What? I would trash him, but heck, they came in here and got
Mike
a dub.
Garafolo, NFL Network, says inactive this past Sunday after being late for a COVID-19 test, disciplined a few times this season. Wonder if that's a him thing or this Houston thing is not where I want to be.
Should probably try to get a player coach.
Oh, boy. Did you see that the Texans haven't – was it the GM said they're not sure if they're not going to comment on Culley's status for next year?
Already? Why are they even
Dude, you already know the answer to this.
I'm giving this man his due respect, okay? I'm trying to give this he's an NFL coach.
I know he is, but he's not going to be next year.
They already want to fire this guy.
He was signed. Zach Cunningham was signed a year ago to a 4-year, $58 million extension.
He was.
Eric Eager of Pro Football Focus says Cunningham bites on play action worse than every single linebacker in the NFL. This signing didn't even make sense when they made it.
Sometimes it's good to be lucky and Johnny on the spot. He still got that guaranteed cash.
So I wonder, though, how long is it going to take before the Titans can use them?
Are they wrong?
Hey, look, John Simon just got – Tuzar Skipper just got brought back in.
Yeah, remember Tuzar.
So moving on from Zach Cunningham per Spot Track real quick, 2021 cap hit, dead cap 5.6 mil. It's going to cost him 12.8 next year. If he's claimed on waivers, the receiving team takes on $275,000 for the rest of the season.
That's pocket change for some companies.
Some contender's going to pick him up.
Oh, yeah, he'll get picked up.
Or wait, is it waiver claim?
Waivers.
So the Lions could grab him.
Yeah, they could. They probably will.
Why?
Because they just won.
I was in the Bucks earlier. I was wearing my Denver jacket, and a guy from across the thing is like, "Oh, Denver fan. I'm a Lions fan. We're playing you on Sunday." I'm like, "Well, you guys just got to win." He goes, "It's been terrible."
He's
like, I just feel like that's a pinned tweet for that guy.
He's a realist.
It's been awful. Yeah, that's a pinned tweet on a Lions fan's profile right there. So it's time for Midweek Motivation.
Need it.
Ink sent us along a nice piece of audio to finish us up today. We appreciate him since he's basically been doing this since the outset of this show. As busy as he is, he continues to always make sure that we're taken care of, and we appreciate him. We hope that you enjoy this. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Buck Rising is coming up next. For Ramon, I'm JMart. We'll do it again at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Here is Ink.
And let's remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic are always hot.
One of my favorite movies, fellas, is the movie Creed, the first Creed, right, with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan. In the movie, they call Michael B. Jordan Donnie, right? And Sylvester Stallone had retired at this point. Rocky had his restaurant that he was working in, right, doing his thing. And so Michael B. Jordan shows up one day, and he finds Rocky at the restaurant, and he goes in and basically says, hey, Rock, I need you to train me, right? I want to box. I'm doing my thing. And Rocky like, yeah, I hear you, but I don't think you know what comes with it. Like, I hear you talking, but I don't think you know what comes with it. Leave. Donnie leaves, comes back the next day. Hey, Rock, you trained my father, right? He's like, who's your father? Apollo Creed. He's like, yeah, I trained your father. He was like, train me, man. I've been knocking out cats in underground gyms in Mexico. I've been getting busy, right? I need you to train me. Work with me. Rocky was like, yeah, cool, but I don't think you know what comes with it. Leave. Donnie comes back the next day. Hey, Rock, man, I really need you to train me. Like, I really want to do this. I've been knocking out cats, underground gyms in Mexico. I've been getting busy. I need you to work with me. You work with my father, right? I want to avenge my father's legacy. Work with me, man. Give it to me. Like, you're the greatest, right? You work with him, right? Rocky was like, all right, cool. You're not backing down. I'll work with you. And so he takes him to the gym. And when they walk into the gym, Donnie sees the ring. Sees cats in the ring working out. And so as they're walking in the gym, they're going to walk past the ring. And Donnie was like, hey, man, I want to go in the ring. Like, I want to work my moves on some of these cats. Rocky was like, nah, keep walking. Come with me. And they walked to a mirror. And when they walked to the mirror, Michael B. Jordan looking at him like, man, what is this? Like, cats in the ring working out. I want to get busy. Take me to the ring. Rocky was like, work your move. Throw your hook. Throw your uppercut, throw your jab. Like, show me what you're working with. Show me. He said, look in the mirror and throw it. And so as he was looking in the mirror, he was throwing his hook, throwing his jab, throwing his uppercut. He was like, throw it. And he was working his move. And he stopped and he paused and he said, now tell me what you see. Donnie said, I see me. He said, get familiar with him. He said, because I guarantee you that will be both your toughest opponent inside the ring and outside the ring. Get familiar with them. Because as great as you want to be, the level and the aspirations and the goals and the dreams, the first person that we have to master on the road to greatness, on the road to excellence, is first and foremost, we got to conquer ourselves, our mentality, our spirit, and our disposition.